Here we go. Hello everyone, and welcome back to I've Known You Too Long. My guest today is Soterios REBELOS, known to many around these parts as Soto, and I'm not actually sure what he prefers anymore, so that's one of the first things we're going to talk about. Now, Soto has been in a lot of bands. Soto was in a band that I put out on my record label called 1007, another band called The Hit. He was in Balance of the World, Everything Went Black. He's been in more. He's currently playing music, and we're going to talk to him about that also. And Soto, on top of all that, has been my boss as well. So we'll get into that too. Soto owns a car company called Black Crown Car Service and an app that goes along with it and a number of things. We'll get into all of that as we get through the podcast. I'm going to welcome him in right now. Welcome, Soto.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Hey,
This is awesome.
Well, thank you, man. So with the name, what do you prefer these days?
Soto. I always go by Soto. Like on a professional level, I do Soterios.
And I said it right, Soterios?
Yeah, that was great.
I just, I wanted to make sure because, like with Matt Dees, I wanted to make sure I had that just right because I don't want to offend people. And you do it. Soterios isn't a name that people run into every day.
Yeah, so, I mean, Soto is just a shortened version. It's like John to Jonathan.
Sure.
Is all it is. Well, it's supposed to be Sotos, but in Greece, it's actually fairly common. So my mother was just wanting to be different. Took the S off the end of it.
Oh.
So sometimes I actually go by Sotos. In the Greek community, I often go by Sotos. But,
okay.
yeah. So Sotos, it's just like calling John to Jonathan. Same thing.
Okay,
same type
good.
Of thing, so.
Well, and I think most people around here know you as Soto.
Yeah. Soterios is a mouthful. It's torture.
Well, you've had to live with it your whole life.
Yeah, sitting in the doctor's office, they call you in and you're like, oh, that's a name that you can't pronounce. That's me. Yeah.
Do they mangle it?
Oh, terrible.
What's the worst you've heard?
Santos.
Well, that's not bad.
I was living with my buddy Matt Aiello, and we used to get mail all the time, and it used to be like Santos Rebelcos, and it would be bills. I'm like, hey, Santos doesn't live here. Sorry.
Yeah, and you don't have to pay a bill if
hey, it's not me.
Fantastic.
Great.
All right, well,
Yeah.
Soto, I've known you too long.
Indeed.
And like so many of them, I've known you so long, I don't remember when we met.
Yeah.
I know the time frame.
Yeah. It's somewhere between 22 to 25 years ago. I know that much.
Okay, well, I have to do math to figure that out, and we've established that I don't do that well at all.
Somewhere between like 90 and 93 is when we met, I think.
Oh, it's 90, 91. By 93,
I was in 1007.
You're in 1007. We've done the recording.
I think that record came out, 1007 album came out in late 93 or early 94, something like that.
Yeah.
We went on tour in 94, so...
Yeah, but I had known you from going to shows, and we didn't maybe know each other very well until you were doing 1007. But here's what I remember. So I started coming down to Seattle from Bellingham and going to shows, 1988, 1989, but doing it regularly, like 1990.
Yeah.
Started doing Excursion as a zine. I wasn't even doing a label yet. Then put out the 1007 7-inch. Started going to shows at the Party Hall. So I'm fairly certain the first time I would have run into you would have been at a show at the Party Hall, 23rd and Madison, 22nd and Madison.
Could it have been Washington Hall? 14th and Fur?
No.
No?
I would not have been at any of those shows. I missed essentially every Washington Hall show. I think I went to one, but I for whatever reason, that's not part of my memory. But did you not go to Party Hall shows?
No, I went to virtually all the Party Hall shows for the first year.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
And what you were playing in bands back then?
Yeah.
What band were you in then?
Face First.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was racking my brain and I was going through pictures. I'm like, I gotta have a picture of Face First with Soto playing. So if you guys were playing, I saw you guys at the Party Hall. So I would have met you at that point. And here's the thing, like, I appreciated that you were another dude with long hair because I had the long hair at the time.
There's some story that's something we got to go into in a little bit too, because that's interesting how the tides have all turned. Because back then it was not cool at all to have long hair and straight edge.
Right.
It was very looked down upon, as a matter of fact. That's one reason
So I definitely, from the very beginning, like when I saw you, and I was like, that's a dude that's a straight edge dude with long hair. It was like, oh, another one. Because there were there were a few of us. I think every scene had a token one or something. So definitely
where I had full on Slayer hair, just like Tom Araya, like long.
Definitely.
It was not, it's not accepted back then.
Well, it was, I mean, did you find that you got into, people gave you a hard time about it?
Yeah, I think I had a lot of hindering on my new friendships. People were like, oh, whatever. Because, we're a bunch of 15, 16-year-old kids. Of course there's a bunch of fucking... You have your insecurities and stuff, and you have your cliques. Regardless of the scene or the movement, you're still 15 or 16 years old. And you're still going to have, oh, he's got long hair. He's not cool. There's always going to be that.
But the funny thing is, the people that, I was getting to know at the time, I never heard a negative word about you. As soon as we started coming down, because there would always be a carload of us, Bill Baker would be there. Val Wonder would be with us, Jen Martinez, people like that. And we would just show up in a group, and then other groups of people would show up, or the bands would show up, and very, very quickly, we just got comfortable around 10 new people.
Right.
And it seemed like you were one of those people. So I don't know when we can say the first time we were ever like, hey, man, and we were doing something together, where we went out, other than just because we happened to both be at a show or going to the recording studio. But at some point, I just was like, I've known Soto for a long time, even though I didn't really know much about you.
Right.
So I'm going to just put it on 1990 Party Hall.
See, and here's an interesting, when I think back, and I could be wrong, I could be making this up, but I swear the first time I was at a show where I knew who you were, and I actually walked up to you and said hi, I feel like I might be mixing shows up, was at 15 and 1007 at the Uncola in Olympia. Were you at that show? Were you even at that show? I feel like that's the first time I actually walked up and said, hey, man, and we chatted. And I feel like that was
15 and 1007 at the Uncola?
Yeah. Do you remember the Uncola? It was in the back in an alley in downtown Olympia.
Yeah. And then was there a weird, kind of loft thing you could sit up on the side?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was at that show.
Yeah.
And I had absolutely already
we knew each other,
right? But that was the first time when we were like, "What's up, man?"
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Long hairs unite. Yeah,
long hairs unite. I remember seeing 15.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw Jawbreaker in that same place.
Yeah.
Was that
Jawbreaker
same show?
there.
Okay, Jawbreaker 15, 1007.
Shit, it was. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, which makes sense because 1007 played virtually every Jawbreaker show in Seattle, literally except 2
until Red Rocket until 1007 was gone.
Yeah,
Red Rocket
literally
was playing.
every Jawbreaker show except the Barricade in Columbia City. That one, 1007 didn't play, and then there was one other. But there's 7 Jawbreaker shows that 1007 played in Seattle.
God, that's crazy.
Seattle area.
Wait, now Barricade
Elizabeth was the best at the garage.
That's right. There was a Jawbreaker show with 1007 at Elsbeth's house in Kirkland.
Kirkland, yeah, that was probably the best. But yeah, so sorry, I'm so far off topic already.
No, that's fine. That's how we do it. We meander. But yes, that's true. What year was that? Let's do that. 92.
Which one?
Elsbeth's. 93.
I would go with early 93.
So just so people understand, we're talking about seeing Jawbreaker play in a tiny little room in someone's
living room.
house.
Living room to 30 people maybe.
And this would have been Bivouac.
Yeah, right after Bivouac, right before 24-hour Revenge. Yeah.
Well, no, it might have been after 24-hour Revenge Therapy. Now that I think about it, time-wise.
You're right, because I
was listening to that record before I moved to Seattle.
the record. Yeah. So they played that show after the Redmond Firehouse show.
Yeah.
It was the same, yeah,
Those
the
guys
day
were
after.
Awesome. Okay.
The day after they played Elizabeth's house. And I bought 24-hour Revenge Therapy at the Redmond Y the night before.
So it sounds like, we're bragging a little bit.
Oh, dude, we are.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It was a hell of a show. It was good.
Those are the days for us.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so what we do on this show then is we figure it out, and then we go back in time, and I try to figure out who you are and where you came from and just why. That's because everybody that I know from that world, there's a why.
Oh, of course, right?
If you were into that stuff at that time, so before it became so mainstream.
Yeah.
There's a story. There's a story as to what happened to you. So I like to figure that out.
Okay. So, but just to recap, so we've nailed that we knew each other
already at the 15 show.
Right, at the 15 show. That's probably the first time that we actually talked as friends.
Okay.
Maybe because I remember walking up to you, and I remember this is when you were wearing your bandana on your head and stuff and all that.
Wait,
I remember the whole thing.
So I think you might be the first person that's messing with me on the show about wearing a bandana on my head.
I'm not messing with you. I'm wearing one on my wrist. Look at me.
You're wearing one of your wrists. But you need to understand, when you wear a bandana on your wrist, people go, of course. When I wore a bandana on my head, people were like, what the fuck is that guy doing?
You definitely had a skate rock look to you.
That okay. Yeah, now I'm happy again because that's what I was going for.
Yeah.
But I wasn't comfortable. I was just never comfortable with any of it. For some reason I felt like that was a little bit of like armor, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Pulled my hair out of my face and I could handle a show.
Yeah. The first time I met you, I mean, it had to have been Party Hall. Right? I mean, that was such a hub.
It probably Face First. Because you were in the band and James was singer, right?
Mm-hmm. James Stern, Spanky.
We call him Spanky. Mm-hmm. I don't want to offend, but that's what we knew him by. Yeah. And then he got into Undertow at some point after that. And was that the end of Face First or was he doing double duty?
He was doing double duty, but it was also the decline of Face First. I think we were all tired. We all wanted to do different things.
Yeah.
I was definitely really into Feel the Darkness Poison idea, but I was still sober. So I was definitely wanting to venture in on the metal end of hardcore. That's, Integrity was out. It was my calling because that's where I came from.
But then
metal.
You went to 1007.
Yeah.
So he went to Undertow, you went to 1007.
Yeah. So I went. That's right. Yeah. So I went to 1007.
And that was not hardcore or metal.
No,
that's Matt Matsuoka's pop punk band.
It was very unintentional. I think what happened was Eric Kinder, good buddy of mine still to this day, he was the drummer in Face First.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Matsuoka asked Kinder to play drums for 1007. At that point, they needed a new bass player, probably like 2-3 months in, I think.
Well, Drexel and Matt Knowles, Chris Drexel and Matt Knowles were the drummer and the bass player.
Right.
And they moved to Bellingham.
Right.
And I ended up in a band with them called Bull Goose Looney.
Oh, wow.
And then basically, that was right before I moved down. And then for maybe like a year before I moved down. And as soon as that happened, Matt had to put together another version of 1007. So I think that's where you and Kinder came in.
Yeah. So, I mean, Chainsaw Orchestra, the first 1007 album, had already been out on Deadbeat Records, I think. Wasn't it Deadbeat? Yeah.
Yep.
And I loved it. Like, Kinder and I both. We rocked that in the cassette player and in his Dodge Omni on the way to practice.
That's a fantastic record, start to finish.
Easily. Perfection. I mean, it was just
and no one knows
good.
about it.
Nobody knows about it.
There are songs in there that still blow my mind.
Yeah.
Lyrics that are just like, anyway. I have this long-term goal of raising Matt up as this like icon, it's
great songwriter. Oh my God. Yeah. So, I mean, we just used to wear that tape out and just, so when he joined the band, I was stoked for him. Soon after that, they needed a bass player, and Matt and Kinder asked me to join. It made sense. I love that band, and I loved being in bands with Kinder. He's an awesome drummer, and Matt wrote some killer songs, so I joined immediately. I didn't even, there was no audition or anything. It's just like, here, you learn these songs, and showed up to practice. We practiced, and it was fine. It was great. It was awesome. And, I mean, that band to me, like, I mean, I've always been super open. Like, I just love music, but I mean, I certainly, again, as a teenager, you have your what's cool, what's not cool, whether you want to admit it or not. There's always something. Yeah. You want to be a part of something. You might battle yourself with that, have some internal battles with that and stuff, but you still do it. So, like, I think with the pop punk thing, it was just super fun. I just let it go, It was just like, I was definitely a metalhead, but I still had 1007. It's like, and it didn't necessarily make sense, but it did to me. It was fucking good. It's just good.
It was a good time.
Yeah, that's all that mattered.
And Matt thought you fit.
Yeah, it was great. And when I look at bands, I mean, like, great bands, they're not uniform anyway. I mean, there's clearly individual personalities, like the Damned or even Cheap Trick or something like that. Like, I mean,
sure.
It's everybody's their own thing. They're they don't sound anything like their influences, and things like that. I think that's important. But
I actually think it's important. I give Matt a lot of credit, and I talk about it all the time. But Jeff Ganson was a big part of what 1007 was also.
Oh my God, yeah.
And he was always there. He just was kind of a quiet guy, kind of unassuming. And I forget that, like, through all these permutations of 1007, it's Jeff.
Yeah.
So that needs to be said out loud.
For sure.
Because as good as all those records are, they are also good because Jeff was there.
And he had that weird guitar tone. I mean, because he was playing through a PA, so he had that really fuzzy, but it became a trademark at 10:07. And he was really good with his chords. And yeah, you're right. I mean, he was listening to some great music at the time too, to influence him. And so yeah, I still chat with him every now and then.
Nice. I haven't talked to him for a long time.
He's got a Tesla. I've been meaning to get up to his house to test drive it, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's a big deal. That's cool.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. But yeah, 10:07, man, it was just a blast to me. Like just being able to play that. I love a good pop song. Like to this day, like I appreciate, like everybody's like, oh, get to the deeper tracks. It's like I appreciate that too, but I also appreciate like what's out in the open. And what people look right over because there's such a subculture. They don't even see. It's like, oh, it's on the radio. I don't listen to it. It's like, dude, have you actually listened to Stairway to Heaven? Like, can you write that? Or whatever it may be, you know?
Sure.
I mean, I appreciate a good, written song. Yeah.
Well, okay.
So, whatever. I mean.
What's her name? The blonde chick.
Oh, that one.
No, Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Like, like Saturday Night Live did that Swiftamine joke about.
I missed that one. You know what's funny is I always watch Saturday Night Live and I did not see that one. I always catch up with it and I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's like it's like a drug. I can't remember if it was you took it if you got caught by Taylor Swift's music or if it was just to be able to get over the emotional impact of realizing that you like Taylor Swift. It was a very funny bit, but that's very, very poppy and that's what is out there in the country right now, or at least has been. Is that what you mean, or do you mean
sort of? I mean, I think what's sad about that, the mainstream pop, it's not the actual songs. It's just how the songs are written. It's not an artist thing. I think that's the downer part of it, right?
Okay.
Because I mean, I was just having this talk with my drummer yesterday at band practice. We're talking about Bruce Springsteen. You know, like taking 6 months to write a record and just every nuance, every chord, every lyric is just like, no, it's not right. Just him freaking out in the studio.
Right.
For 6 months, you know, it's just, and then you got Kanye, you know, like I'm a genius. Like, what are you talking about?
Like, it's perfect already.
No. And, you know, you just have these comparisons. You're going back and forth like that. And you're listening to Born to Run. And then you got, you know, whatever Kanye is putting out. And not that you can't appreciate what Kanye's put out, but yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, man, I don't really know like what is I guess I went right to Taylor Swift because that's just what you hear like in commercials and like the pop. Few videos that are shown anymore on a screen that you can see other than but Carly Rae Jepsen, that's another one that's been a really big.
I like Carly Rae Jepsen.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Totally
like that's
her.
Very poppy, very like contrived, but it's catchy. People, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I love a good written song, and whether it's not cool enough for you or something is something beside the point. That's you and your personal preference.
Sure, and like you were saying, like you were into metal.
Yeah, I was into metal.
Just want to make sure we go right from Carly.
I got into hardcore because I was open-minded, and I thought hardcore was that calling. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but
you thought that hardcore was open-minded?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's why I was attracted to hardcore. So, I mean, we were talking earlier. Man, we're all over the place.
Yeah. I'm going to rein it in a minute.
So you were talking about like where I came from, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I was a metalhead, like full on metalhead early, like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old.
Okay. Well, wait. Let's if we're gonna go back, let's go back.
Okay.
So, where were you born?
Seattle. First Hill.
First Hill. Okay, so you've been in the Northwest in Seattle your whole life.
Yeah, from when I was 3 years old to somewhere in my childhood. I lived in Chicago.
Oh.
I moved to Chicago, and then my parents got divorced, so I was coming back and forth, and moved to Las Cruces, New Mexico for a while, for a year and a half, 2 years maybe.
But this is when you're a little kid.
Yeah, like 12 years old, something like that.
Okay.
Moved to Bellingham. Lived in Bellingham in 5th grade and went to Roosevelt. Yeah.
You're kidding.
No. Yeah. Hey, neighbor. So, yeah,
I did not know that.
Let's see. Lived in Everett.
So when did you settle into, where did you go to, like, junior high?
Jeez. Junior high. Where did I go? Junior high. So
I had never had any idea you were moving around like this. I thought you were a solid Northwest, like rooted person.
Grew up very dysfunctional, my friend. Let's see. We moved.
Well, that's
so
all
many
important
times.
to this story.
Yeah. Where did I go to junior? I went to
What about grade school?
Roosevelt. No, wait. Roosevelt wasn't. Jesus Christ. Grade school. I started in Chicago. Our Lady of Lourdes. It was a Catholic school. Then I went.
Did you have to like dress up?
Yeah.
You had a uniform?
Yeah. Light blue shirt and dark blue pants.
Just all boys?
No, boys and girls. Boys and girls separated on the playground.
Oh, you couldn't play with the girls?
No. Although my first girlfriend was in kindergarten, Eileen. Ooh,
what did that do?
Took her to Burger King for a date.
Wait, in kindergarten, you took a girl on a date to Burger King, and that was a date.
Yeah. My dad drove us.
You said, I want to take a girl on a date.
I kissed her on the lips. It was a big deal to me.
This is a big deal to everybody.
Times were different back then.
Are you 6 years old?
5.
You're 5. You're like, I like that girl. I'm going to kiss her on the lips. I'm going to get some fries, and we're going to play on the Burger King playground. Do they even have playgrounds at the Burger King
There's no playground. This is at night. It was dark. And my dad took us in his 69 Impala.
And did he sit there with you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you didn't get to go.
We just held hands, talked, and did normal kid things, but we were on a date. So
wow. And then, so when did you kiss her?
Every day at school.
At the Catholic school.
She was my girlfriend.
At the Catholic school.
Yeah, nobody knew.
So how did you do it if you guys were separated at on the playground?
The classroom. We all sat together and stuff. Sat in group circles.
Okay.
Coloring circles. We had a little thing that was called Cozy Corner. It was like.
Because it's kindergarten. I am having a hard time.
Sounding so bad right
No,
now.
it's not. I am having a hard time. Like, I literally, while you were describing that, I was thinking about my 4th and 5th grade, but it's kindergarten. There's cubby holes. You guys might lay down on the mats to take a nap.
I mean,
you're only there for a half day.
I don't feel like we hid it, though. It just like we didn't hide it from anybody.
Well, it's like you were you're such little kids at that point. People probably don't take it serious.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a peck on the lips. We weren't like nothing obscene.
So 5th grade girlfriend with a legitimate date and kissing, like that's you've set a high bar for anyone else to get over.
I was watching a lot of Fonzie.
You watch a lot of Happy Days.
Yeah, Happy Days.
Okay, and were you in that school up through? Like, how long did you stay there?
Our Lady of Lourdes. I was there from kindergarten to 3rd. From 3rd to 5th grade, I changed schools in Chicago. I went to Athena Cone, which is an all Greek private school in Greektown.
Oh no! Now did you have to break it off with the girl when you left?
Yeah, I honestly don't remember. I don't remember.
You don't know how that went. So, and then
I wish I stayed in touch. That would have been cool.
Well, maybe she'll get in touch after this. So then you went to an all Greek private school.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
It was awesome. We didn't learn anything. There was that was the funnest school I ever went to.
You didn't learn anything?
No, we didn't learn anything. I learned sign language. Nothing academic minus a couple like cool things. Here's the thing. Here's what I learned in Greek school.
Okay.
Things that you should be taught to you at any school, meaning like sign language, obviously Greek. We literally spoke Greek all day. The teachers, there was only one teacher in the class or in the school that spoke English well. The rest of them can barely speak English.
Did you grow up speaking Greek?
Yeah.
You speak Greek?
Not anymore, no.
You can't do it now?
Not really, no.
Because
I recognize it. Yeah, I recognize it, like when it's spoken. I can identify some of it. I can say, Afaristo, thank you very much. That means thank you,
But at 8 years old, you were speaking fluently in Greek in school.
Yeah.
Wow. So, and you spoke English just as well?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
it's weird to me to think that a person can lose a language.
I know, right? Yeah. It's super weird, but I think that had a lot to do with me being rebellious. At the time, I didn't appreciate it. I think I tried to lose it a lot.
Okay.
I mean, my father spoke Greek around the house all the time. On the phone, if he was on the phone, he was speaking Greek. At the body shop, he ran a body shop in Chicago. He was speaking Greek, and he was just here when he was driving his taxi. He was speaking with his Greek buddies in Greek. It was always around me, but there was just that. That's not me. I'm over here.
Okay,
that's my family. but I'm over here kind of a thing. Like I have this perspective where I've always tried to keep myself separate and do my own thing. I suppose. I guess it's where hardcore comes in.
Okay.
So, but
we're gonna get there. So now you said you thought you went to Roosevelt in the 5th grade.
Yeah, 5th grade. Yeah.
You were in Bellingham. You went from Chicago to Bellingham.
No, so there's a gap there because I went from, God, I guess Greek school is 3rd grade. So maybe, I think I changed mid-year at Our Lady of Lourdes.
Okay.
I went over to Greek school because we went to Las Cruces, New Mexico first. That was 83, 84. That I know because that's Peace of Mind. Iron Maiden was out. I remember listening to these records in New Mexico as they came out.
Well, you were in
Number
grade
the Beast.
school.
Yeah.
Well, how old are you, Soto?
41.
I'm just trying to make this work in my head because you're just a couple years younger than
Let's
me.
get my mom on the phone.
No, it's fine. But so okay, so
she'll know these years.
Well, this is the key though. Since this music obviously is a huge part, like how do you get introduced to this music in grade school?
Right. I had an older brother, but I think it was just in Chicago. It was very prominent at my school. I mean, everybody just was listening to Kiss. Everybody was listening to Thin Lizzy, things like that. And it just kind of
at the Greek school or at the Catholic school?
Both.
Okay,
both. I mean, it was everywhere. It was just like, I mean, Kiss and Thin Lizzy. You just had those. Cheap Trick. That was another one. Mm-hmm. I reference them a lot because that was, I had 3 first records, and it was Kiss Destroyer, Thin Lizzy Jailbreak, and Cheap Trick Lava Budokan. And that was
and you got
those 3 records through Columbia House on 8-track. My mom let me pick them.
They were 8-track. They came in the mail.
Yeah.
And those were the free ones. What did you have to get to finish out the
Well, I don't know. She just let me pick 3.
Oh, and then she
my mom,
got her own?
Yeah. Probably like Linda Ronstadt or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is also good. That's So
I don't. Do people still do that? Does anyone know what we're talking about? You would get to pick free music for a penny or $1, but you had to agree to let them send you a new release every month, and if you didn't want to keep it and pay the full amount, you could ship it back. And it was actually a pretty brilliant business model because people wouldn't ship them back.
Yeah.
And then get stuck. They'd get billed for them.
It was a lot harder to cancel those days. You couldn't just log online and click cancel or anything. Yeah.
Exactly, but you started off getting a bunch of cool free music, and I did it a couple times in my life and got good music.
I think the last time I did it was I was into hardcore, and they were still doing it with CDs, and I think you just do it under different names. I think the last name I used was Kamala F. Meyer. F. Meyer being Fred Meyer. Kamala being a screeching, like Kamala. It had something to do with the Screeching Weasel song. I can't remember, but I was like Kamala F. Meyer. I think I was listening to Screeching Weasel and like Fred Meyer.
There was Kamala and the Carnivores.
Kamala and the Carnivores. Yeah.
Lookout. I did it in the 90s, and I got New Order Substance double CD. I can't remember anything else that I got.
I can't remember what I got that last time either. I remember Hanoi Rocks, 2 Steps from the Move was one of them because I loved that record as a kid. I wanted to revisit it, but I don't remember the other ones.
Okay.
Anyway, so
it just music was just no one came up to you and like you didn't listen to music and then they played something for you and you went, oh God, it was just always there.
Well, yeah, I mean it was always there. My brother had a huge impact on me as I got older. I mean he saw the direction I was going and he was listening to metal too. So when I couldn't drive yet, he's 6 years older than me, so then I started going to shows with him.
Right.
So it had a huge part of it.
So what was the first live music that you saw?
Loudness at the Moore Theater.
Really?
1985.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were here.
Yeah.
See, that's why I was saying 83 and 84.
So, but I used to come, you got to remember, my parents were divorced when I was 4, so that's something I kind of left out. I was still coming back to Seattle all the time.
Oh, okay.
So I was always, I was living with my dad in the summertime, basically, here in Seattle.
Got it.
In many ways, I didn't skip a beat out of Seattle, so.
Okay, so when does someone, because at some point you had to hear punk rock music. You had to hear, because it wasn't as easy to get at the time, right? So how do you find punk rock music?
Same way everybody on this show has, apparently, DRI.
DRI. Okay. DRI.
Crossover. Come on. It's like it's spelled out for you. It's like
I can't believe the influence of DRI is insane.
That is that's the gateway. That is the Golden Gate Bridge right there of hardcore and metal. And just, you can't avoid it. So
Well, I mean, a lot of people get there with skateboarding too. Was that something that you were into?
Yeah, I got into skateboarding for a while. Yeah, I got a Palom Peralta Rat Bones.
Nice.
I got that by my uncle used to build pizza shops, then sell them. And so my uncle built, there's a Romeo's Pizza over here on Olive Way. Mm-hmm. That was, he built that one. It was the first Romeo's, and then he sold it off, and then they kept it. It became a chain.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I helped build that one. Sweeping, manual labor, paid me $60 cash. I went the second time around in the U District, bought a used Palom Peralta.
You bought a used one because $60 isn't enough.
$60 is all you're gonna get. I mean,
you need 120 to 140 to get a brand new setup.
To build out a setup, yeah. So,
but used, I could see a used. Yeah. Was it pretty beat up?
Oh, it was beat to shit.
If you paid $60, what kind of trucks? What kind of trucks?
It had independent trucks.
Indies and what wheels? Do you know?
I don't remember the wheels. I remember I went through a few different sets of wheels.
Okay.
And I remember it had.
Did you like soft wheels or hard wheels?
I liked hard wheels.
Okay. For street skating, or did you skate like ramps and stuff?
Street. I was strictly street. Yeah, I was terrified of ramps. It was so clumsy. And it had rails on it, which is so nerdy. I had to take those off immediately.
I skated with rails. Yeah. I would still. I still don't mind rails. A lot of people do.
Yeah. And I get it now, but at that time and point, it was kind of a poser thing for that moment. You know what I mean? So I had to rip those off. But
we had I had a skateboard shop from 1987 to 1989 in Bellingham.
That's crazy.
And we we couldn't keep rails in stock. Like it was just standard. But I know that it would come and go whether it was cool or not.
Right.
And then it went away again. But so the whole time we had that shop open, man, we were drilling holes in people's boards for the rails. Like that was like every day part of the job. Put the rails on the boards.
Right.
So
I got a little into skateboarding. That's when, with the help of like bomb shelter videos and being home alone by myself a lot because my brother and my father. I was living with my dad at the time. He was a cab driver. I'd come home at like 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. Same with my brother. He was driving a cab. My brother was
driving a cab also.
Yeah, way early on, and he started at 18. And so,
oh wow.
So I was home alone a lot, living over here in Interbay, and so fortunately we had bomb shelter videos.
So skateboarding, DRA, bomb shelter videos. You're reading Thrasher magazine?
Not Thrasher. I was doing local zines. I would go to Time Travelers, Fallout.
So Time Travelers was we haven't talked about Time Travelers very much. It was a very cool store on 2nd Avenue. Yeah. And it's built up now down there so differently that you can't even really see the spot that it was. I believe they built up the block.
That block is untouched. That's
really?
That's the same corner as Scariyaki, the teriyaki place right on 2nd and
But here's the thing though. It had a parking lot, and there are no parking lots down there anymore.
No. I don't think there's a parking lot. But the building itself
is still there.
There's some sketchy history to it too. There's the teriyaki place the owner just got busted for buying like truckloads of iPads. and trying to hide them, conceal them this happened like 2 weeks ago.
Under the teriyaki.
He's carrying them out in white buckets, like they were just investigating. Like, come on, man, like but it was attached. It became the Doc Martin store, I think, for a while.
Oh,
I think.
Michael and I, last time we were downtown driving around that area, we were trying to spot it, and I had to look up online and see what the actual address of it was. And it just doesn't seem. My memory of all downtown Seattle, the landscape has changed.
The awning for Time Travelers is still there.
Oh, really?
The last time I remember. No, I'm gonna go by there tonight and check it out.
Or was it on 3rd?
No, it was on 2nd.
It was on 2nd,
definitely
right?
on 2nd. Yeah, I remember it very well. Yeah, and you can see like the silhouette of the lettering, like Time Travelers. At least last time I looked.
No, I know what you're talking about, but I don't think that's been there for years, and I hope I'm wrong. If you got to snap a picture of it and send it to me. We'll put it on the blog of this because that is awesome. So,
regardless, I know the location, so whatever's there, I will send you.
Right
a photo
now,
of,
Time Travelers. I bought my first record from my record collection. That was actually once I had that record, I had to have more records. I bought the Minor Threat 7-inch, the last one, the 3-song.
Right.
And I never bought any skate stuff there though, but I bought T-shirts and music there all the time. Yeah. And then there was Fallout, but you were closer to Time Travelers. So whereas a lot of people are going to say Fallout, Time Travelers was your jam.
There was just two spots to go to, Time Travelers and Fallout. It wasn't one or the other. Time Travelers was probably more responsible for my zine reading. They were readily available there. There's one called NPC, not politically correct, I think.
Okay.
And the reason I picked it up, it had a metal where I was coming from. This is the era of crossover. This is like punks and metalheads unite, motherfucker. It was like this, like the cover was this terribly drawn picture of a metalhead shaking hands with like the skater dude with the mohawk with an X on his hand. And
well, I know that artwork. I think I probably saw it too.
Yeah. And it said Unite or Die on it.
Yeah.
And I was writing that on all my school folders at the time. Like, that's it, man. You know, like metalheads and punks, man. You know.
Were you going to some of the same shows that like Ron Gardapi was going to?
Not
He
quite,
talks
not,
about
not
Guerrilla
yet.
Gardens and Soldier
Right.
and that.
I was very close. I was really close. Literally like blocks away and driving by them close.
Okay.
I never actually went in. I regret that. So
Were you too young or just didn't?
like I didn't fully understand it yet. Like Guerrilla Gardens, there was one point where it was in Fremont, where there's a Fremont storage now, like at the end of the Fremont Bridge. So at the time I was living in Inner Bay with my brother and my dad. So we would drive by there, and I remember GBH was playing there one night, and there was like all these punks outside. I'm like, oh, I want to go so bad. And it's just like, but I didn't quite understand it. My brother never crossed over into that. Like he was still metal,
Right.
And so I was already kind of veering off on my own thing. And
Did he give you a hard time?
no, not at all. No,
Okay, he was
but
cool
we
with
just never happened, you know. And one of those things. So, you know, I was still 13 at best or something, you know, at that time. So I wasn't going to be able to go by myself. Yeah. But I remember driving by those Guerrilla Garden shows being so bummed that I couldn't go, you know, and or just not able to go, I guess. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't a reality to me for whatever reason. So
Right, but so you're 13 and you're skateboarding and you're into punk rock and you're into crossover metal.
Yeah.
But you just can't get out into it. You can't get out and experience it because you're just too young. Were you not allowed to kind of go out on your own?
No, I guess I didn't desire the show part of it that much. I mean, I was really into the zine portion of it. I mean, it's because of those zines that I discovered Minor Threat. Same thing, last 3 songs, 7-inch. So I discovered Minor Threat. I'm like, holy! And here's something I never drank ever at the time, and I just didn't care. And I was going to a lot of parties really young with my brother and stuff, and just seeing everybody hammered. And
Your brother would take you to parties when you were that young?
oh yeah, crazy.
Why was an 18, 19-year-old guy taking his younger brother to parties?
He just we were metalheads. Thought it was cool, man.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. So these were total metal parties.
Oh yeah.
So they were just like, check out this kid.
Forced Entry would host these parties, like just Metal Church, like all these crazy like metalhead parties. And I had a blast. Like I loved going to these shows or parties, but seeing everybody just like blitzed, and I didn't relate to that portion of it because I just didn't care. To me, it was the discovery of the music, you know. And so with the drinking didn't have any place in it at the time. I wasn't looking for an outlet of release. At least I didn't know it yet. So coming from my, you know, there was a lot of shit going on at home, and so a lot of.
What do you mean? And I mean, whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of shit going on in the sense that you know, like drinking was definitely a part in my family, and blah blah blah, and just restrictions and this and that, or lack of restrictions on one side of the family. It's just like there was either. Like,
so between your mother and your father, one was strict and one was not?
So divided, yeah.
Okay.
And so on one side, I could do whatever the fuck I want. I didn't even have to go to school. I didn't have to do shit. On the other side, it was like, I can't even watch a movie with the fucking F word in it. And so,
well, that's
and then
not,
on one side of the family, I can have a subscription to Playboy when I was 7, and all this other weird, that's another story.
Is that, now that's not a random example, just pulling something out of the air. That's real.
That's real.
You got.
I was the coolest kid on the block in Chicago. I used to trade Transformers and G.I. Joes for centerfolds all the time.
Wow. Okay, now hold on a minute. You got copies of Playboy that came to your house with your name,
my name on it,
on the actual label.
Yeah, that's when I lived with my mother. Yeah.
Your
Okay, let me go back here. No, all I did was ask her because I had a huge curiosity. I loved girls, women.
Yeah, well, you went on a kissing date in kindergarten to Burger King.
So here's the thing. Okay, so here's the thing. This sounds terrible, and would I do this to my son? Like if I had a kid, probably not. But I mean, there is some sanity to this story. What?
Sure.
I mean, she was very like. She sat me down with encyclopedias on sex and everything and taught me thoroughly. She's like, hey, you know, lust is a great thing. Just don't be a pig about it. So, you can't just go up to these women and just say, hey, you're fucking hot. Like, there was a way to treat women.
So your mom taught you about respecting women.
Right, yeah. But it didn't mean that I couldn't appreciate that either. It didn't mean I had to, like, suppress my sexuality or anything like that. And,
okay.
Which is weird saying that about a kid. It's gross. But anyway, that's...
Look,
but it's a natural thing. At least for me, it was.
We're talking about the 70s and into the 80s.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's so different from what things are like now. It's like an alien planet.
Right.
Like, people were both more strict about certain things and wildly open about other things, like you're saying. So, Yeah,
it's just about treating people how they want to be treated. That's it.
Sure.
There's,
But so anyway, you asked for a subscription to Playboy.
Yeah.
For like a birthday?
No, I just I think I had a huge crush on Elvira, and I kind of opened the doors of all kinds of things.
You had a crush on Elvira in grade school.
Oh yeah, like whenever, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that started out with that, but yeah, I was just really curious.
And so you now. Wow. So that's the kind of thing that would get someone locked up today.
No, right?
Totally.
It'd be a BuzzFeed story with 1 million likes and shares. And, it'd be a disaster. And this poor lady would be like, I didn't mean anything. But yeah.
I was just trying to teach reality.
It would be so blown out. Everybody would like do these online.
But look, like you said, these kids are like trading their toys, which are probably their prized possession, for a piece of paper with a picture on it that... People like, well, what did we do before the internet? You know what we did before the internet? We traded our prized possessions for a glimpse of a naked lady. That's a different world.
Yeah, it's definitely. It was a fun time, man. That was great. I mean, it was just like, it was simple. It was just like, there was no rules. It's just like, don't be a dick. That's it. That's all there was. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I can't remember how we segged back into that.
Well,
you were going to metal parties.
Yeah, I was going to metal parties.
Oh no, you said on one. Okay, no.
So,
you said on one side you had very, very strict parenting. On the other side, you had incredibly lax parenting, and it caused some sort of a feedback.
Right. There was no stability in my home life at all. It was just like, oh, we got to move all the time, and just things. There was no structure whatsoever.
So can I propose that whenever it was you found out about straight edge, and decided to take that on for yourself, it was like you being able to impose a type of stability on your life.
Oh, absolutely. Discipline. Yeah.
That you hadn't had in like, because everything was so chaotic. You're moving, you're having to live under different rules all the time that are so different. Okay, so when does that happen?
Soon after. So we're talking about time travelers and stuff. So now I'm already reading these zines. I've discovered Minor Threat. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is great. Like, these guys don't drink and they're aggressive. It's just fucking awesome. And
supposedly, Ian doesn't drink.
Right. Yeah.
Who knew?
The general premise was there. And see, that's what I don't like about straight edge is all these all the fine print bullshit. It's like, come on, get over it. Get over yourself.
Well,
like
you talked. You like 80s straight edge.
Well, here's the thing, dude. Like anytime you overanalyze anything like that, you're doing it wrong, right? It's like
I analyze stuff.
I don't like if somebody doesn't like. I agree with you. Like on the faction era of straight edge, awesome.
That was how I found out about it.
But that's the whole thing. It's like, okay, these guys don't go out and deliberately get wasted. That is straight edge.
And the point that he was saying is, in case anyone hasn't listened to every episode, is that I remember reading an interview with the band Faction, which was Steve Caballero's band. They're fantastic. And they said they were straight edge. And the interviewer said, well, you smoke cigarettes. I've seen you smoke cigarettes. Yeah. And they said, well, we don't get high. Yeah. Like, we're straight edge. You could be straight edge and smoke cigarettes. And at the time when I read that, I was like, hell yeah, I smoke. Like, and I didn't smoke. Like, every once in a while I'd like smoke a clove cigarette with like my girlfriend in a Burger King. Right. Which is weird. I actually did get caught smoking cloves with my girlfriend by her father in a Burger King. Back when Burger King had little tin ashtrays on the table,
I remember
you
those.
Could smoke.
Yeah.
And that was cloves. Yeah, it was definitely great.
So, but that's the thing. It's like, then you got these people like, well, oh no, man. It's like, dude, he's not intentionally getting high off that. He's not setting out.
Right. Well,
to me, the premise was
all changed.
It's common sense.
Like the whole Youth Crew, late 80s, like it all changes and becomes more of a solid. And I think, that's just the natural progression of things. But you were still there for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and I actually became very militant for a while too. I got really militant for a while. I turned into a huge dick.
I don't know. I don't know that part about you. Well, hold on. Let's when did you say I am straight edge?
So reading these zines, I discovered Minor Threat. Maybe, 88 comes. I buy another zine, Boiling Point. It's got Judge. It's got Token Entry. It's got Youth of the Day. Slightly before that, there's a skater buddy of mine who he just had this really high energy. I couldn't tolerate him. Just like, hey bud, just kind of wacky fucking skater kid. But he was like listening to all kinds of straight edge shit. And so he the first time I heard "We're Not in This Alone" from You the Day was from him, and I loved it because it's just overdriven. Like it sounded like shit, but it's just loud and just awesome. Wake up and live, and it's just all discipline. I'm like, yeah, fuck my home life. Blah blah blah. This is what it's about. I'm gonna do shit right. Like. That whole thing kicked in, and being young and naive, it sets you on a path. You interpret it wrong. You see it as something like, yeah, fuck everything, man. I'm going to do it this way, and it's the only way, right? Because you're young, and that's what you do.
So, but you're saying you interpret it wrong.
Yeah,
not you interpret it right.
In the philosophy that there's only one way to do it.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and so that's what kids do. They do stupid shit. So that was probably like my first real taste of like hardcore, like straight edge hardcore. Minor Threat was one thing. It was like saying that, hey, there's people like this that exist, but then we're not in this alone. Just just
because now you're in
back, like that. Album kicks in, you're just like, yeah. It's like, oh my god.
And if that hooked you like that, there's just no coming back.
No.
So you were, but you kept your long hair, or you already?
At that
point?
My long hair. Kept my long hair at this point.
Because that could have been a haircut right there. Like that could have been.
I could have went full on jock. And the kid who never went to school, like, is wearing a Letterman's coat.
You take that record and you go and I need this haircut, I need these pants, I'm gonna roll up the cuffs like this, I need these shoes, I need all of it.
Yep.
And but you didn't do it.
No. But I stayed. I maintained my identity. It was about a philosophy, not the fashion.
But so you took.
I never took on the fashion aspect of music.
But you said, but you took on the hard edge.
Yeah. So. I mean, there's a little bit of a story before we get to the hard shit. Like, so there's, I got into that. Then I'm reading Boiling Point, reading Judge. Judge is sounding fucking fantastic. I'm like, this is great. So I go to the record convention at Seattle Center, and New York Crew had just came out. It was Revelation Records peak time. Mm-hmm. I mean, they just put out everything. Like, the Gorilla Biscuits EP had just come out maybe a year before. The Judge, New York Crew. Side by Side, and shortly after that, the last Youth of the Day EP.
Yeah, your list of like, crucial records that you just have to have.
And I'm just like, blamp, pick up the whole. I'll take the whole Revelation Records section, and here's $100.
Nice.
And of my hard-earned money, and then I go home and listen, and it's on. That's it. And so, I mean, it started from that zine, really, because, I mean, I heard You the Day, I got into Minor Threat, but sitting with that zine, it wasn't about going to the shows, it was reading the interviews of these guys and then being able to relate, I think is what got me into it. And saying, yeah, that's what I want to do, that's what I want to be, and
so put an age on it. How old are you, 14?
Yeah, 13, 14.
13, 14, okay.
Yeah. And so...
But there's no date. You can't say, on this date, I said I was straight edge.
No.
Most people can't.
No, and so, I was never that precise about things. Again, it's a general philosophy. I was never like... And truth be told, I claimed straight edge for less than a year. Because I saw it go bogus real bad, in my opinion.
Wait, you claimed straight edge?
Some hate mail.
You claimed straight edge for less than a year, from 13 to 14?
Like, God, no. So I don't think I claimed straight edge until 16. I don't think I ever actually claimed straight edge until 16. It was short lived.
No, this is for some people. This is a foreign language. By claim straight edge, you say I am straight edge.
Yeah.
And then you're in. You jump yourself into the gang.
Yeah.
Mentally and emotionally.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I ever claimed it because I just figured I don't drink. I am straight edge, and I listen to hardcore. I am straight edge. What's there to declare?
Right.
What are you going to declare? Like, oh, It didn't make sense to me.
So were you going out to shows like like X's on your hands, all that?
At 16, yeah. 16, yeah.
And what
Face
kind of
first, I was playing shows at that point.
okay.
I was Xing up and
so you'd gone north. You were moving, or were you living in Interbay still?
Oh no. So at this point, we had moved him out like Terrace, actually.
Okay.
Because my dad thought I would do better in school because I wasn't going to school.
And now, did you stay in that house for a long time? Because I remember coming up to that house at some point.
Oh, you're thinking of... No, I moved out from my parents and moved in with my brother. This is a different era. Yeah,
right,
that was in Bothell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember having a barbecue over there.
There's a story about that barbecue.
Yeah.
Apparently, well, no, I'm not even going to go into it. I got to wait till Bill Quinby's. There's a Bill Quinby story about that barbecue, which is pretty fun. But I'll have him on the show one of these days. That'll be a story for him to tell and to rake me over the coals because apparently I did something not very cool.
Oh man, I'm dying to know because that was at my house.
I didn't know we didn't do anything to him. I think we gave him a ride and left him.
That's such a Quimby story. That's totally something that would happen with Quimby.
Right, but like I don't think it's me. Like it wasn't my vehicle or anything, right. But I for whatever reason he blames me and he blames me for a lot of stuff. But it's all awesome. So I definitely gotta get him in here. And he has done so many you saw what I put him through in Edge of Quarrel.
Yeah.
He gets naked and dumped out of a car and he does all kinds of other stuff for that. So he definitely has always been there for me, but I didn't even know this story until, like I said, I'm going to let him tell it in detail because he was very young and I think he was just one of those like, we're going to this thing, come with us. We've seen you at a show, like, and just forgot about him.
So I was I was living in Mount Lake Terrace when I really got into hardcore. I remember I had my record player and that was my thing, was to go there and listen to my records and just really dig deep into this shit. And so...
Right, so you're 10 minutes north of the city, and you get into a band with guys from Everett? Is that...
Mount Lake Terrace. I was going to school with these guys. It was... at the time, I was actually doing a punk band with my brother and some older friends. And just a band called Waste King.
Nice.
And that was officially my first band.
You guys play shows?
Yeah, we played at Washington Hall with Subvert, Jesters of Chaos,
and Waste King.
Yeah,
I've seen the flyer.
Yeah. Like, so
I don't know if Waste King is on it, but I know I know that flyer from Washington Hall.
Yeah, Waste King's on it. Yeah,
fantastic. I didn't know that was you. Okay.
Yeah, and so I was playing with those guys and. We were playing a lot of barbecues and backyards in Mount Lake Terrace, so we were becoming a thing. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so fucking dumb kids.
Sure.
So
that's awesome. The Waste King.
Yeah, named that for
the first punk band any of my friends were in was called TFW. Totally fucking wasted.
Nice.
That was the first show I saw, where there was moshing.
Jeez.
And there was like 3 or 4 of us.
That's all it takes, man. So I was playing that, and then my buddy Eric Kinder, who I think I had history class with or something, was trying to get something going with James, also known as Spanky, who was a skater kid at my school, who I thought was cool. He was like wearing a suicidal hat flipped up and skating. He looked all fucking just gangster shit and stuff, just cool kid, and so. I think those two guys were trying to get something together, and I was like, well, fuck, I don't have, I'm in Waste King. And I think I was kind of a dick about it. I think I was just like, I'm not going to be in a band with high school kids, like. So,
wow.
There's a lot of ignorance here. So
a lot of this filtered out before I met you, because I never had an impression of you being this way.
I'm also pretty hard on myself, too. So, I don't,
This might have been going on in your head while the rest of us were like, hey, there's Soto, being totally like chill, like normal.
Yeah, so, but I think I got James and Eric jobs at this telemarketing office where I worked because, that's what you do when you're 16.
Okay.
And so, so we're all sitting there and we would just call each other all night on each other's phones and pretend we were working.
Nice.
And, I think Kinder or James was like, "Come on, man, you got to do this. You got to be in this band. Like write some songs for us at least and something." So I wrote like a song, and I was like, "Okay, I'll come to practice and play bass, and so we can get this." We got this other guy on guitar, and then so we we did that, and I ended up being stuck in the band. I actually had a lot of fun, and I was like, this is hardcore. This turned into a hardcore band.
Right.
Rad. Because I don't want to do shitty punk. Like, I didn't, and like, so I was digging, because here's the thing, in Waste King, everybody wanted to do like G.G. Allen covers. Everybody was hammered in that band, and I'm writing songs literally with what I called the Chain of Strength drum beat. And everybody's like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, no, floor tom, man. Like trying to like write like this punk band. I'm trying to like do these Chain of Strength riffs and stuff, and it just obviously was not going to work. And so Face First, it was like, holy shit, this is like this is exactly. And James quit smoking. He went straight edge, and Eric Kinder didn't drink anyway, so he's straight edge. And, so I started having a blast with that. And then, it just became like a hardcore band, Face First. And then I remember our first show was supposed to be at the Party Hall, Judge Inside Out, I think. Or Judge Inside Out. Judge canceled.
I don't think Judge wasn't it Judge and Bold?
No, not Bold. Definitely wasn't Bold.
Was that Chance Strength?
It's Judge and Inside Out. Judge, Inside Out, Christ and Crutch, Refuse.
Well, I know there were Judge flyers, but the Inside Out show I thought was separate from that, because the Inside Out show did happen
at the Ballard Firehouse, right?
We did it in Bellingham.
Oh,
I saw it up there. But I know it just affected everybody. It was a big deal. Okay, but so that was your first show
with Face First.
With Face First, and then
I think my first official show was at Waste King one at Washington Hall.
Right, with Face First. So that's how Face First got off the ground.
Yeah,
and then that's how I meet you guys. And the three of you stand out. Who was the guitar player?
Steve Ricky. He's in Portland. He's playing stuff down there with, I think, somebody from Poison Idea now.
No, cool.
Yeah. That was Undertow's first show as Undertow, I believe.
Oh, where they changed their name from Refuse.
Refuse, yeah.
It always sounds like, to me, when I listen back to this, it always sounds like I'm saying refused.
Yeah.
But no.
Nope.
Refuse. And yes, they changed their name to Undertow and suddenly got really good.
Yeah.
And that was, do you remember that?
There was clicked into place.
There was that time where Joel was still singing, and every single show, it moved forward. Like, you could just see the bar being moved, and it's like people are doing these dances, people are knowing like the breakdown parts of the song, like the good sing-alongs, right? Yeah. And it's still standing, like, oh, like, and people are like mimicking, like everyone's kind of showing up to the shows, like, wow, how many Turning Point shirts are there at this show?
People like long sleeves, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but that was such a cool time, and then it was just like I've only seen that a couple times where it just all starts coming together, and you're like, oh, here, you can feel it. Like, here we go. Something's about to happen, And it was like that. One of the only other times I've really seen it happen was in the early 2000s with Champion and Stay Gold, when they were playing shows together. I talked about this in the Ram episode, and he argued with me about it, but I'm telling you this happened, right? It was like they were competing, and each show just got better and better and better. And I was like, who was going to have the better set tonight?
You know? I can see that for sure.
But you just kind of, at the beginning of it, you're like, oh, I can feel this coalescing. This is gonna, this is gonna be years of people's lives, like, being stoked on these bands.
Yeah.
And I felt like Face First was right in there.
We were getting there. But I just think that,
and then it just kind of was gone. But then, did it die because Spanky joined Undertow?
It had a big part of it, yeah, for sure. Okay. Because he joined Undertow, and I quickly, just like I said,
I've got photos of him playing in Undertow.
Right, with my bass.
With your bass, and he brought so much character to that band that that was another thing for them. Right when this rise was happening, then he's in the band, and it's like, oh, these guys are funny too. Like, there's like cool shit happening. Now, so he replaced Pettibone on bass?
Correct.
And Pettibone went to
vocals, yeah.
Okay. So that was like kind of like Undertow Mach 2.
Yeah. I mean, he was just, that was a dream for him, you know, and to be able to go on tour and, see these bands from Chula Vista and all that, that whole era, the Ebullition and stuff. I think, and in the same token, I don't think I was personally at that point in my childhood. Let's not say, I'm not trying to say, because all those decisions I was making, they're so temporary. It was a child. It was an evolving child, right?
Oh yeah.
So I never like to say that I was held to any philosophy or anything like that. But at the time,
but we're talking about you're 18, 19 years old at those party hole days.
Yeah, definitely.
But you still see yourself, when you look back now, you feel like you're a child, right?
Yeah,
because I absolutely do. Yeah. I feel that up through my 20s.
Yeah. I mean, I was accountable for my decisions, but yeah, I mean, I had every right to change my mind or feel the way I felt. And so at the time, I felt like it was just becoming, what's that? I mean, there's a saying about people who, there was actually like a Hard Times article that just came out about guy insists the scene's over the minute he'd stopped doing shows or something.
Scene ended
something like that.
Yeah.
That was me. That was that moment. It was like, oh, geez, like I'm just tired. I'd rather, I was doing all kinds of weird shit too. I was still trying to collect my personal life together, get that together, figured out what I was going to do and how things are going to work and all this madness going on. So the way I was seeing it was like, okay, I got what I need out of it, which is just a collective of ideas.
You're talking about you got what you need out of the hardcore scene or out of straight edge?
I guess of hardcore and straight edge both.
Okay.
Meaning that like I wasn't totally alone, which as a kid I needed that reinforcement. But I also felt that it was going into this crazy direction of like just who's wearing what and who's name dropping and all kinds of shit. And just everything that was anti-hardcore to me, because it's like, our hardcore was supposed to be not superficial, and Shelter putting out songs about pictures being false and all this crazy shit, but then you see everybody just being superficial all the time.
Well,
and so
here's the thing, man. I never took a word that Shelter said to heart.
I'm just saying the irony there.
No, I know, because like you flip the record over and you're singing a prayer to a God you don't believe in.
Totally.
So as
totally with you on that, man.
I enjoyed watching Shelter play. Yeah. They were a huge impact in the Northwest. That weekend they came up was a big deal for a lot of people, but the message, well, and it was twice, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm thinking of it coming back with Inside Out.
Oh, God.
Or no. He came out with Inside Out, then came back with Shelter, and he was more Krishna.
Right. Yeah.
But I really had a problem with all that. And so, like, Inside Out was doing the whole, there was a whole, like, my identity, this is not my, these clothes are not my identity or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Which was nice for a fairly well-dressed
and so
guy
Inside
to say.
Out, I will fucking, that is probably one of the most important bands in hardcore to me. Like,
sure.
I mean, Zach, fucking legit dude. And
I agree.
Those lyrics nail everything. I mean, that was hardcore to me. However, when you got a bunch of people name dropping how they know Zach at an Inside Out show and just being complete opposite of what he's, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't, and not to say that all hardcore kids are like that. No, because I mean, look, there's you, there's Pettibone, there's so many people, there's Ron, fucking all these guys.
Basically, most of the people that are still around.
Yeah. Which only a few stand in the end, of course. It's how it's with everything. So at the time, it was time for me to just kind of back out of it and do my own thing. It was too much. I don't like it.
Well, it's weird. It's funny to hear you say that because I never think of you as being gone.
No, but I mean, I would do things
because you went to 1007 and then you were involved with me.
Right.
Like, so I saw you more.
Right.
Like,
But see, do you see that 1007 was sort of an escape too?
Yeah.
From that. I mean, it was something different. I don't know if that's exactly why I did it, as we were talking about, but
we didn't cover before we get well into this, into this more modern era, because I want to go into your childhood, the young childhood, and the skateboarding and learning about punk rock and being into metal. The one question that I really like to talk to people about, I want to know about fights. Like, were you a guy that got into fights, or were you a lover, not a fighter?
I was definitely a lover, not a fighter. As I got older, and inappropriately in my 30s, I became a fighter, like an asshole.
Okay.
I just couldn't take some of it anymore.
No. But I'm talking about being out on that $60 rat bones and skating around.
I was a lover.
But people weren't giving you a hard time.
No, they were. Oh my God, I was bullied at school every day, and I fucking smiled and took their girlfriends. Totally, literally.
You smiled and took their girlfriends.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
okay,
man.
So it was
like, I didn't give a shit about them. No, like it was cares. Like fuck, man. Yeah, I lived in Battleground for a while, actually, during all this. Down by Vancouver, this little tiny town. Holy shit. I got mistaken for a girl every day at school. The first day of school, I walk in. Mind you, this is
That happened to be within the last few months.
Oh, that's the intermediate school. I get called. She's got a beard. It's 2015. That's cool.
No, I get called ma'am at restaurants when they walk up from behind. They don't see the beard.
Totally funny.
Yeah, it is funny, and I have a great time with it.
What are you gonna do?
Yes, you turn around and the shock, the horror, the what have I done is so good.
So that was the intermediate school I went to, was Louisville Intermediate and Battleground. You were asking where I went to. I couldn't remember. So first day, 7th grade. I'm wearing eyeliner. I got big fucking hair.
When you wearing eyeliner, you was watching Another State of Mind? You doing some
it was
social distortion?
It was more like, not quite. I wasn't quite there. It was more, this is, Motley Crue, Celtic Frost. I was a metalhead, meaning everything from glam to like thrash, Venom. Sure. It was all in there. It was a big mishmash.
Well, and you talked about liking Hanoi Rocks.
Yeah, and Hanoi Rocks, which I still love to this day. So,
but there's makeup there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely, and that was me. And so,
did you wear any more makeup other than eyeliner?
Oh yeah.
What else did you wear?
I'd wear white powder and shit. Yeah. Pale. I wanted to look pale.
Are there photos?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What about lipstick?
No, I didn't go. No.
I know.
Not on the daily. No. But here's the thing. I mean, I even did this during the HIMSA years too. I went back to it. That's another story. But yeah. So there's but the first day of class, I remember walking into the gym. I was late because I didn't give a fuck, and so I push open these clunk clunk, and there's a circle. It's the boys gym class. Everybody's in a circle because it's like first day orientation, and the gym teacher is sitting right in the middle, and he looks up at me. He goes, "Girls' gym's next door," and he was serious, and all the kids start laughing, and I just go,
"Nice!"
2 fingers up like that, and I back into the door, and I fuck you, and I walked out.
Really?
I didn't go to school the rest of the day. I just went home. I think I went home and actually cried because that was. Oh man, it was brutal.
It was hard up front, but then the soft side came out.
Yeah,
so
of course.
So you got to go back the next day to that guy's class.
Yeah.
What happened?
Mr. Farmer, what a dickhead.
Mr. Farmer in Battleground, Washington.
He's probably dead or doing shit now.
Okay, but so what? But so does he like? Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
What's up, miss? Yeah. Like, what did he say the next day?
I don't remember. I just remember we had to undress in front of him in the fucking shower room every day, so I hated that.
You had to undress in front of him?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. So this is like, the gym showers were right there, but he had like his own class with a window and a desk that looked right in the shower room.
He looked into the showers.
Yeah, he just sat there at his desk while everybody took a shower.
Wow, some people had to go to like the Lusty for that. That's messed up, man. Mm-hmm. Okay. So
I thought that's how every junior high was. I thought that was junior high. It's like, oh, you have to get naked in front of your classmates.
Well, you did kind of. I mean, there's some degree of that, but I don't think of it. I never thought of it as the coach standing there watching you. That is part of the brutality they put you through for whatever reason.
Yeah. So
like they don't do it enough. Like they either need to go like military style, like you have no self. It doesn't matter. You're all the boys in this class. If you're naked or not, whatever, you're a unit. It's nothing. But they don't. They just kind of throw you in there and they allow kids to go around and whip you with towels and fuck with you. And it's horrible. It's just this horrible pecking order that gets worse in junior high.
Yeah. But yeah, that was probably the most grueling school year was Battleground until I just got my footing and I just owned it. I just owned that school so bad in the end. I was very proud of myself.
And so you were still wearing eyeliner.
Oh yeah.
And you were taking their girlfriends away.
Yeah.
Because the girls thought the eyeliner was cool.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I would like. I remember specifically there was this girl. I'll leave her name out because I think I'm friends with her on Facebook. But yeah, like
she'll know.
Oh, she'll know for sure. But there was this dickhead, and he was probably my biggest bully, and he would come over and bully me all the time and just like call me names or whatever. And it's like, We never got the blows or anything like that. It never came to that, but it was just really annoying. It just
Right. Now, you realize if you had fought, he'd be your best friend to this day, probably.
Probably, yeah. Okay. And so I remember his girlfriend, who everybody loved. Everybody, she was so hot, and she's like a farmer's daughter. The whole stereotype, the whole thing. Or no, not farmer's daughter, preacher's daughter.
Preacher's daughter.
Preacher's daughter,
right.
Literally. And so I remember her best friend came over to me and said that she thought I was cute. That her friend thought I was cute, which was that girl. And I was like, oh, payback. And so it was on. And like from that point on, that was my strategy. Just like, and I never took anything too far. I would just like flirt with them, like get them like totally googly and stuff, just in front of their boyfriends. That was enough for me. That was it. Like,
right.
Dude, fuck you, like, it was like, what are you going to do about it, kind of a thing. So that was.
So you really saw yourself as Fonzie.
Yeah, God, that's terrible, huh? Yeah.
No, it's not terrible.
But yeah, I mean,
Well, it's funny because I've heard you say that for many years, and now I understand it better. I didn't realize you were actually doing Fonzie.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a Soto thing.
Yeah, I wish there was more jukeboxes.
Okay,
yeah. So that was my bullied year in school.
But you never in those years you didn't fight anybody.
No, never. I was just.
And no one ever jumped out. No carload of guys ever jumped out and tried to take your board. Or...
Close. I've always outrun or talked my way out of it.
Yeah.
Always. I always tried to take the smarter road.
I was good at talking my way out of it.
Yeah. So I've never. Somehow I never got. And I mean, I always had a temper too. Like it was always like, but it has to be triggered. Like it's kind of like my superpower. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's never there. It's put aside, and then if. You start pushing me, you corner me, it's a problem. But I mean, right. I don't. So I think that helped.
But that didn't come out until your 30s.
No, I let it loose a lot more when I was in my 30s. I mean, I wasn't afraid, I guess. And I think that people sensed that. That's why I never got beat up.
Right.
So.
Okay, so we could come back up to 1007. So you're in Face First, now you're in 1007. We're doing stuff. You record the You're Cool LP. Mm-hmm. And that was a good time. We were going in there. It was an interesting time.
Yeah.
And then you guys played some pretty, I don't want to use the word epic, but some pretty big shows that were probably the highlight of 1007's career as a band.
Yeah.
And there was a period of time when you had dancers on the side of the stage. Mm-hmm. It was Pettibone, and who was the other dancer?
Steve Samples? Is that his
name?
I
think that's right.
Yeah,
I think. And let me explain. These guys would like get shirtless with like big jeans, like those giant 90s jeans.
Jinkos.
And they like write stuff on their chest, and they would just like dance like they were dancing girls in a cage, except they were dudes on the side of the stage while 1007 played.
It was awesome.
And it was good, and people thought it was hilarious.
And they would rub like whipped cream all over themselves and
throw
tortillas out in the audience.
It kept getting that you guys were going to do something. Matt was going to do something. There was going to be silly string, or there was going to be some kind of mess that was made.
Yep.
And it all culminated with a huge show at the Bellevue Y that had blow up gorillas, whipped cream, silly everything. Yeah. Like, and there are photos. I've got a whole bunch of photos. I'll put some of these up.
I think, wasn't it?
Oh, was it with the Posies?
Yeah, we opened for the Posies.
But you guys devastated that place.
Yeah.
In terms of, it was such a mess, and there were kids. At one point, there was a line of kids up front at the barrier, and Pettibone had a huge thing of whipped cream in his hand, and he ran and slapped their faces, like ran along, like some kind of like Three Stooges thing. Slapped all their faces. They all had like beards of whipped cream or shaving cream or whatever the hell it was. That was a really good time. And I thought, this band, everyone's gonna find out about this band. I really thought it was gonna blow up and be a big thing.
Yeah,
and it didn't. Stuff. Stuff. You guys went on tour, but you couldn't really take that on the road. You couldn't take the crowd from the East Side, from the old Firehouse, and all that scene.
No.
So out in the world, it was just another band, right?
Yeah.
So you guys,
it's a tough world out there.
You guys went on tour what, in '94?
Yeah, '94, full US. I think
you did.
Yeah. It was '94. It was a full US. I think it was like 8 weeks.
And you told me,
I think Blake from Jawbreaker helped set that up, or he provided all the promoters. I know that at least.
He probably gave Matt some of
Yeah.
that information because
Yeah.
they would talk back and forth. Now, you told me that when you went on that tour, you had a cell phone.
Yeah.
And that was something...
Everybody made fun of me
because
for
you
it.
were such an early adopter of technology, and you still do that to this day, and it blows my mind because I can never follow the stuff that you're into. Like, but we're talking 1994, a cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, is this like a Wall Street? Like he's walking on the beach with a big brick, talking at it.
So what happened? So because my brother and my dad were driving cabs, they had cell phones. They had car phones, and my dad got a new one, I believe, that was like this was like one of the first handheld truly wireless ones. So it wasn't like that wasn't a brick. It was the first series that wasn't a brick, you know.
Right.
And so my dad I think he got one permanently installed in the car because he liked that better. And so this one was laying in the drawer, and at the time, you know, cell phone plans were like $800 a month. You had to do it for work,
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so he, you know, this was his dispatch because he was an independent cab driver. He didn't have a dispatch company,
Right.
So he had a cell phone. So, so he was able to activate that before family share plans were around, put it on the same account, and I was able to take it with me. I'm like, you know, I had to talk him into it, and I think I actually paid for it from working. And so we get on the road. Everybody's making fun of me. Everybody, you know, as they always do. And I don't give a shit. And so we break down 5 a.m. in Iowa in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And I think it's pouring rain, or at least there's a major lightning storm. I'm not sure which. I can't remember. I just remember the lightning. I don't remember if it was raining too. Everybody's like, fuck, we dropped a drive line. What are we going to do? Fucking, this is insane. I pull out my cell phone, call a tow truck. Fuck you guys.
Awesome. So you saved the day.
Yeah. It's technology saved the day, as always. So, yeah, cell phone. That was great.
And
it was awesome.
Because at the time, no one had any of that stuff.
Nobody did.
People were still using
However,
dialers and
from Radio Shack.
Dialers from Radio Shack. You put the chip, you put the crystal in it, and you have a friend who knows how to solder. You put that thing in there, and you can fake it on the payphones.
It would replicate the coin tones as you would put the coins in the payphones. Yep. So
dimes.
Right.
I think it was only dimes that worked.
Ours.
Did you have a different one?
Maybe. I don't remember.
No, did you have one of those also? Because you had the cell phone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we picked up ours. Picked ours up from this promoter in Virginia at Kings. We played at the King's Head Inn in Virginia Beach, and we picked it up from him. And so, yeah.
No, you guys also played famously Josh Grabel's Basement with Earth Crisis.
Yeah, and Strife.
And Strife. Earth
in
Crisis.
Trenton Falls,
Strife,
New Jersey.
In 1007, this pop punk band.
Oh, that was awesome. And kids knew who we were. And so this is insane because I was so excited because at the time, this is like I got really back into straight edge by this point. And I was militant. I was like, and when Earth Crisis, I mean, I was listening to Vegan Reich, Raid.
Oh,
I was into that whole thing at that point in time.
I was so not into that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a walking contradiction. I do whatever the hell I want, and it's usually pretty ridiculous. So it's like, So I was really, when Earth Crisis came out, I was just Firestorm. You hear that, and it's like, oh my god. So we're playing this show with Earth Crisis and Strife, and it's this basement. It's packed. Obviously, we roll up, and there's just kids. There's no way they're gonna all fit in the basement.
Right.
There's no way. So I get out of the van. I'm like, "Where's the shower?" And I asked the kid where the shower is because I have to take a shower every day. That's how I was. And so he's this long-haired fucking creep in my shower. So
he's gonna plug up the drain.
Straight hairs, which is actually probably true. That's not even a joke, actually. So there's kids pouring out of the door. I mean, I want to say there was probably like 500 kids, but it's hard to, when you look at the basement,
yeah,
you know, it looks bigger, you know what I mean? So it's hard to say. I mean, it's definitely a lot of kids there. So, but we play, and yeah, like people were like yelling out songs for us to play and stuff. It was a blast, total blast. I think the more crazier show that we played was Salt Lake City with 108.
Oh god, that is also awesome.
And I think the only reason we didn't get killed is because I actually X'd up at that show.
108 being a militant Krishna band, and Salt Lake City in 1994
when
being,
Salt Lake City's brutal peak of straight edge.
Yeah, like the worst straight edge scene ever.
Yeah.
Like in terms of violence.
There was a dude in the pit with the hatchet, and there's another dude in the pit with chain. And nobody moved out of their way.
You know, sometimes there's a hatchet and a chain. What are you gonna do?
But and we stayed with the drummer from State of the Union, I think.
Oh, right on. Yeah, sounds right.
So, yeah, we got out of there pretty quick. We were not gonna go. It wasn't gonna go well if we hung out. That was the one show we got booed.
Really?
Oh, we got booed. Uh-huh. Yeah, we cut the set short. The flyer was awesome. It had Snoop Dogg on it. And but I literally think if I didn't have X's, like I would have gotten beat down or something.
Right. Okay. So you come back from that tour.
Yeah.
And how much? You're not in 1007 much longer.
No.
What happened there?
Yeah. What did happen?
Did it just break up?
It's a good question. We started practicing. Started practicing out in the U District. We wrote some killer new material, and we played it on WFMU in East Orange, New Jersey, which was recorded, and I wish I could get that recording. Matt's got a copy of it.
No, I don't think he does. It's possible it's in the tapes, but I think that's one I would have snagged when I was helping. I moved him out of his place a while back. Little quick thing to get that back up there.
Yeah. So
if it exists, I mean, I'll ask him. You know, maybe he actually does.
And actually, there was also a recording that he had of us, the King's Head in Virginia too.
Oh, okay.
Direct from the board. Those both sounded amazing. Those full sets. But we had some new songs that we played at both of those shows, and I wish they just never got released, never got recorded. And I thought it was our better stuff. But what happened? I mean,
well, next thing I know, Matt's in Red Rocket, and you're doing Balance of the World.
Yeah.
Was there anything between
that? You know, I think that was it. I think Kinder was playing drums in Balance of the World as well. And I joined that band.
Balance of the World is a Northwest band from the mid-90s that has it's one of those bands that is kind of lost a little bit. Like, there's not a presence of it very much out there on the internet. No. I mean, I know there are some blogs where you'd be able to get
it's hardly
those
anything.
5 songs.
Yeah.
You guys had a release. There was was it just CD or was there a 10-inch also?
There's a 10-inch and a CD, yeah.
And it's phenomenal. Do you disagree?
It's one of my favorite bands I was ever in.
It was, and your shows were.
It's the only band I'm not embarrassed in any amount.
Oh, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be embarrassed of them. But the thing now, I was watching, and I had this experience more than once, and I wish I could say that you were the person that this was said about, but it's Kinder. So I had 2 different occasions. I stood next to girls that were watching Kinder play drums and kind of losing their minds over it. Yeah. Like they were like, you know, just because he hit hard, you know, and then one of them like said something to me like, I get so turned on when I watch him play drums. I'm like, oh my God, this band is like, this is like, and like dudes that were really into music are losing their minds because no one's playing anything like this. It was just very, very cool.
Yeah, I had a blast doing that band. That was like my ideal music to play. That was fucking perfect. And Zach is a great. I mean, he writes some cool lyrics too. I loved everything he wrote.
Yeah, no, it was super cool.
We did a couple of those reunions, but yeah,
you guys, not too long ago, you played the Undertow reunion.
Yeah, I played the Undertow, and then we did like a secret reunion at the Comet, which is actually way more fun to play. I thought like that was super rad. A lot of people there, and I thought it sounded pretty great. So
what did you do? So that went on. I mean, you guys were doing that for what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we tried to go
into that weird late 90s period.
Yeah. So, and then
when things got weird.
That's definitely why 1007 split up. I think Kinder and I were just doing Balance the World, and it was just time. I think, it was just time at that point, and I think we found exactly what we wanted to do, especially, or at least for the time. We were supposed to go on tour with Bloodlet, and we had to find our own way out to Florida, meet Bloodlet, then go up the East Coast with Bloodlet, support Bloodlet on this tour and stuff, and then continue on the tour. So we had to find our own way out to Florida, and so that meant playing some really shitty shows, just unknown band, but we had a blast, like in Arkansas. It was our second time.
So you did do that tour? You went out?
Well, we went out. We started.
Okay.
And then we made our way. We did like Little Rock, Fort Smith, Arkansas, and and there's a lot of shows I don't remember. Like I don't remember. Oh, Goleta. We got to play with Manumission there, and some Evolution bands and stuff. And we actually got to record a demo from the drummer from Manumission.
Nice.
Or not drummer. There was a drum machine. So it was one of the guitar, or it was one of the singers, I think. So he recorded a demo for us, like just on the fly. It came out really good. And then, God, where did we go? So there's a lot of those shows I don't remember. I don't remember.
But you didn't make it to Florida?
So we got to Florida, and the tour wasn't happening.
And you didn't know.
Right.
So you toured out to Florida to support Bloodlet up the East Coast, which with Balance of the World at the time, that would have been a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got to the furthest point from Seattle in the U.S. that you can be in the country.
Yeah.
And to find out the tour wasn't happening. And then what really sucks about it was 2 days later, we were supposed to be playing with 108 Integrity, a bunch of other bands, I can't remember, at CBGB's, which would have been my dream.
Right. And you're that close to it.
That close, 2 days out.
And that show wasn't happening at all?
That show happened, but not with Bloodlet.
Oh. And so you guys
would
have been on it if Blood... Oh.
So, yeah. So that never happened. But
that sucks, man.
Yeah. So that was...
Was that the end of the band?
I think that was part of it. Zach was kind of doing his own thing and stuff, and that was kind of it. I think we disbanded, and I think he tried to keep it going with... I could be wrong. I might be remembering this. I think he tried to keep it going with Damien on bass for a second, and then Kirby, or maybe not Kirby, maybe Kinder. It was like two without two of us, but kept two.
Right.
We were a 4-piece. I can't remember though. But it lasted like 2 months or something like that, and then it just finally died.
Okay.
So
that, what are you talking about? Like 98?
I think so.
97? I could be. It could be 96. I think actually.
Yeah, 96, 97. Actually, I think.
God, I don't know. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
Well,
I could be remembering.
It's an interesting time period where things get really compacted, and you think things were going on for a long period of time, and they weren't.
It's not. Yeah. Yeah. So I could be remembering the end of Balance of the World completely wrong. So don't hold me to that.
So then you swore off playing music, right?
Yeah, I sold all my bass gear, everything.
Oh, I just made that up. You really did?
No, I did, yeah.
But you got right back into it, though.
No, I didn't get right back into it.
How long?
I guess I did. So I guess that's your eternity thing, right?
Yes, because it's not long before everything went black.
I sold my bass gear, yeah. And then Kirby and Ego, and they were doing Everything Went Black. Our good friend Tom LaFave, he was playing bass, and I think he's just doing the family thing, so he was stepping off bass. They asked me to play, and I said, fuck, I just sold my gear. So I did it.
Once again, I'm back in. I thought I was out. They're pulling me back.
So, that's the thing. Like, I've always, I think if it wasn't for friends, I don't think I'd ever be playing music, because, I love doing it. But at the same time, not really. I like playing with my friends.
But you were a go-to guy for being in these bands for more than a decade.
Yeah, yeah. Even currently, that's how I ended up playing music again. It's the same thing. Nothing's changed. It's like
a few things have changed.
Yeah, well, a few pounds have changed.
That's mine that I'm hitting, my friend. All right.
So
yeah, we're a little bit older, whatever, dude.
But
we're not skinny kids and looking like Krishnas.
Not rocking the eyeliner anymore. Sure. Yeah. So Everything Went Black. I joined that. That was super fun because.
And you named a song after you.
I didn't name a song after me. The band.
Hold on. Were you in a band that had a song called Soto?
Yes.
Okay. You can say whatever you want. Well, why don't you explain it to us?
It stands for standing on the outside. Okay. And it was about holding your own identity. And so
who wrote
obviously,
who wrote the song?
Shit. Kirby and I wrote the music, which I thought was our best song.
Right.
I still think it's one of our best songs. And Ego wrote the lyrics.
Okay, and so that was like his homage to you?
No. It's cool because it's kind of, hey, Soto, and there's a Soto in the band. It's funny. It's ironic. No.
He had to have thought about that.
Well, of course.
What can I make Soto say? Standing on the outside. Yes!
Well, okay, so
look, I'm not making fun of it. I think it's rad.
Okay, well, here's the thing. So we're not the only ones, or we weren't the only ones with a song title named Soto standing for that. Broken Bones. Remember that band? Punk rock band?
Yeah.
From England.
They also had that? They
had a song called Soto.
Oh.
It was called Sitting on the Outside. So...
Well, I didn't know that.
So anyway, yeah. So that's how and then ironically it starts off with, well, the second version started off with bass by itself. So then it became like, hey, this is Soto's song. It's my anthem, bro.
How long did Everything Went Black go?
3 years, I think.
And you guys were playing shows at the Paradox in the U District. I definitely saw you play there.
Like the house band there. They're in the Auburn Annex. Like the
Auburn Annex, yes.
House
you put out a split 7-inch with Last Man Standing.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. Yep. Good luck finding that, people.
Yep. Yeah.
It's out there, though.
Yeah.
It's circulating around in the world.
Yeah. We put out a cassette demo first. That was before I was in the band. And then the split 7-inch with Last Man Standing, which I can't remember if I was actually on. That might have been before I was in the band, actually. I'm not sure. Everything else after.
I have one in this room, but I could not put my hands on it very fast. I'll try to get a picture of it and put it up on the blog.
I believe there's some release of our EP officially in Spain or something, because before that it was only released by us. I think somebody released it in Spain. I've never owned a copy, nor seen it, except
Wait, so it's a third Everything Went Black record?
I think so, yeah. I think it was like a demo we put out, and it was officially released there or something.
Okay, very cool.
So...
Does that end about the start of Himsa?
Yeah.
Or do they overlap?
No. They sort of overlap because at that time Josh Freer was in the band. Right. And me and Josh and I, we were both very into the same thing where I think, we were doing Halloween shows, we were wearing eyeliner and all that shit. And the next day rolled around, like, we're not going to wash it off. We're going to keep wearing it. We're going to bring it back. So he kept wearing eyeliner, and we were both listening to a lot of Swedish metal.
Okay,
At the Gates and In Flames and all that, and we started. That's when the fuck it all attitude really set in and said we're doing what we want to do, and we just started writing Swedish metal riffs. It started. That was when Everything Went Black died.
Yeah,
so pretty much, we started getting pretty much just metal.
Okay,
and. It started off as this kind of like East Coast tough guy hardcore stuff, and then it just, after I joined the band and Josh joined the band, it was just metal. So I don't remember Himsa's terms, but something happened where Kirby and Josh both needed to play guitar in that band, or were asked to play, and so they actually, and so they took a few of those Everything Went Black songs, which actually ended up on the Courting
Tragedy and Disaster.
Yeah. They were reformed into Himsa songs. But
do you know where the name Courting Tragedy and Disaster comes from?
I do not.
I have to save it for when I get Fedivone in here.
That's going to be a good show.
Because I know where he got the title.
Oh.
I was reading a book one day, and I found that, and I realized that, of course,
So it was coincidence that you found that.
Years after it came out. But I immediately either called him up or texted him or something, and I was like, I know where you got the title. And he was just like, "Yep." So I'm just teasing a someday future episode with Pettibone, which will happen.
I love when little treasures get on discovered like that. Like, oh my god, like on accident, it's the best. Yeah, that was Everything Went Black. Everything Went Black never really. I don't think it really went anywhere or did anything. Just played some local shows.
But people think fondly of it.
in the scene, I think it had a slight impact, because it was done well. You know, I mean, it was, for the time especially, it was kind of, that's the two things I'm proud of, I guess, with both Balance of the World and Everything Went Black. They were both kind of ahead of their time. Like, you know, like hardcore bands really weren't doing like Swedish metal stuff at the time, and then now it's a hardcore band is Swedish metal,
right?
You know, so it's kind of cool.
And now there's a little bit of everything everywhere.
Yeah, and that goes back to like me having long hair. And then when I cut my hair out, the straight edge scene grew out their hair. You know, it's like, what? Yeah, it's kind of funny how it all switches.
At some point in there, you start drinking.
Yeah, yeah.
When did you start drinking?
I think of the year.
I can't remember. I remember hearing about it and being like, did we talk at the time about it?
It was 12 years ago.
Huh.
And I was
2003.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Right before my father passed. Yeah. So I was on a date at Linda's Tavern on Capitol Hill, and she ordered a Chambord Kamikaze, and she liked me because I didn't drink. That's one of the reasons she liked me. And my Motorhead shirt. She liked Motorhead a lot. So like,
dude, okay. So two awesome things.
So I remember smelling that Chambord Kamikaze. I was sitting at the bar, smelling that Chambord Kamikaze, and as stupid as it sounds, it smelled so good.
Had you never drank at this point?
No, never.
In your whole life?
Never.
You're 30 years old. Is that right? 29?
Late 28, maybe early 29, somewhere in there. Okay. Somewhere in that. So I had a sip of beer when I was a kid for my dad.
Sure.
Just he wanted like a 6 or something. He's like, yeah, you can have a sip, and it's terrible. Then once I accidentally drank.
I used to get little beer in a little plastic cup when my dad would drink beer watching football, and I could sit and drink it, and I didn't like it, but it was something I got to have. You know, I did that a whole bunch of times. That was, and I don't know, for whatever reason, I think I hated beer my whole. I mean. By saying my whole life, I stopped drinking at 16 and never have since. But even back then, like high school, and I did not want beer.
And then once I used to drink my mom's Pepsi. She'd pour it in a glass over ice, and I'd drink it all the time after when I was little. And except one day when we were living in Chicago, she was hosting, having some neighbors over and stuff, all the Greek neighbors in the building and stuff, and I walk over there and I chug her Pepsi, and it's Drambuie Pepsi. And I just chugged it before I even realized what it was. Just bar. And my mom's like, "Oh my God!" Like it's like I passed the fuck out. My dad had carried me to bed. And,
oh wow.
Yeah. So that's the only time I drink.
Right. Well, you didn't
complete on accident. So yeah. So I was at Linda's. I said that smelled amazing, and I just chugged her drink. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And it was like 3/4 of a drink maybe left.
Right.
And called my brother. I'm like, "I'm hammered." He's like, "What are you talking about?" Like
from that you
went on.
Now what happened with the girl?
Oh, we dated for a while.
Okay, yeah. she was like, "Oh, I don't care if you're not sober anymore."
But there's at this point in my life, I had come to terms that I never didn't drink because I can't drink. It's because I didn't care. And in my early years, I felt like it wasn't controllable, you know, because that's what I witnessed. And so at almost 30 years old, you certainly have your own mind and your own willpower. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with drinking. Nothing's going to change. My life isn't going to fall apart if I have a beer. And that was it. So, so then for the following year, my life fell apart because I was drunk all the time.
Well, no, honestly, like I wondered if you were going to say that because I don't really remember anything, but I heard stories. Mm-hmm. But there's something about, I mean, obviously, cat's out of the bag on that one, right? Like we're not putting the toothpaste back in the tube on this whole story with you, but like you're supposed to make mistakes in your life at certain time frames in your life when you have less responsibility. Yeah. So you're supposed to start drinking when you're a teenager, and you're supposed to be an idiot drunk in college. So there is nothing like someone who just didn't do that because they were straight, who decides to start drinking at 25 to 30. Because then you're experiencing the fuck up. Yeah. When everyone else hasn't done that for a long time. And do you want to speak on that?
My childhood, I really didn't have, honestly, I didn't have, you know, you got to understand, like I was holding a lot of my family together. Like I didn't have a lot of time to do going on tour was a task. Like when I went on tour with 1007, I didn't feel like I belonged on tour. I had shit I was supposed to be dealing with myself and my family. To me, I had no business being gone.
Right.
That's how I saw it. Like I shouldn't be doing this. I'm supposed to be doing this and that. So I didn't do shit like that. I didn't drink. You know, I think that was not super intentional, but again, it's like I was focused on other things. As I got older and I was more relaxed, you know, I gave myself more freedom to fuck up. And maybe I was revisiting a lot of that as well, because I never did do that when I was a kid either. So I think that's probably off the top of my head. I'm not going to say for certain, but I think that's probably why I was doing a lot of that. And to this day, still do, gladly and proudly. I give myself time to be a total dickhead and can find myself in one of my best buds' houses and will watch John Hughes films and stay up until 10 a.m. doing the stupidest shit. I still allow myself to do that. Like, that's, you know, and
well, that's
whatever.
funny because years ago you were known as being that long hair, straight edge guy. And now I think there are people who know you as you like your drink every now and then.
Yeah, certainly. And I'm unapologetic, but I am very apologetic. I never want to be mean to anybody. I'm gonna keep doing what I do, but I'm gonna you know, make my amends with these people. If I don't do that anymore, I'm not, you know, I've learned to figure out how I work, whether it's drinking or weed or anything else. Like it doesn't matter what it is. I just know that I have to be civil to everybody around me. And this comes back into play, like we're talking about fighting in my 30s, and it's exactly it. So it's like when
alcohol brought in the fisticuffs.
Oh man, yeah. Like I'll
wait.
Yeah.
Oh no, go on.
So, I'm just gonna say, you know, a douchebag at a bar is a douchebag, and I'll leave it alone. But if I'm drunk, feeling, I'm gonna let that guy know he's a douchebag. Right. I'm gonna be a douchebag to the douchebag.
Now, at this time, you were also driving a cab.
Oh yeah.
When did you start driving? Because we need to get into basically that part.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap it up kind of with what's going on currently with you, but we'll get there with some background. When did you start driving a cab?
Mid-90s.
Mid-90s.
Yeah.
Okay, because for a while, weren't you just working on building like enclosures in the cabs or something?
Yeah, taxi partitions. Yeah,
taxi partitions, and that was for safety for the drivers.
Yeah. There's a little business my brother and I had in selling taxi partitions in taxis in Seattle. The cab drivers are incredibly flaky, and it was a hard business it was a hard sell.
But there was a lot of violence back then against the cab drivers, right?
Yeah, cab drivers are getting shot left and right back then. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So,
yeah. And knifed and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So you went from, because you did that for a few years, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then you started driving.
Actually, when I went on tour with 1007, that's how I got, when I went on tour with Balance the World, that's how I made my money for tour, was selling those partitions and install. Actually, last minute I had like 8 partitions in stock. I called Yellow Cab and I said, I gotta make you this deal. And I went down to Yellow Cab like the day before tour, made like $1,000 and then took it on tour.
Nice.
So that was my tour money. So,
all right. So you did that for how many years did you drive a cab?
10. 10 years.
Just where you were just driving,
driving a cab, a taxi,
driving a taxi cab.
Yeah.
In Seattle, and then you decided to make a change.
Yeah. So the company, first 5 years, I don't know if it was exactly 5 years. First handful of years I shared a cab with my dad. It was my uncle's cab. My dad drove it in the days, I drove it at night. And he said, Soto, you only do this for 6 months and you get the fuck out of it. And so 5 years later. So, every cab driver's got the same story. So there's a lot of freedom in it. You work yourself to the bone, and you get paid for what you put in. You want $1,000, you go work for $1,000.
Right.
You want time off, you take time off. It's super addictive, and you really have no boss for the most part. So the company I was driving for, my father passed away in 2003, and then so I went and started driving for Red Top Cab, which was in Ballard, and then drove for them until they sold to Yellow Cab, either in 2004, 2005. I want to say 2005. maybe late 2004. Anyway, so
And the yellow cab just absorbed the company.
and that's the day I quit. The day that we were supposed to make the change, go over to the yellow cab school, quote unquote.
Right.
Like I just quit, and I said I don't know. And this is also, the economy was shitty because of 9/11. It never still in the taxi industry. It still hadn't recovered. It just sucked, and I was just done with the cab. Really getting into fights and stuff like big time. I was just over it. It was like it wasn't fun anymore, and it was something I had to do to survive. And I wasn't happy. I wasn't being my happy self anymore, which I love being happy. So, so I just quit and took a year off. I thought I was going to open up a bar. I found a couple potential investors, wrote up a business plan, and I said, I don't know shit about bars. So I pivoted my idea and started Crown, which is a car service, which I had the idea years prior. Like, hey, what if I just start my own car service?
So it was called Crown Black?
Yeah, it was called Crown Black Car.
And you started that, and how is that different from a cab?
Well, so I formed it. The reason I formed it is because I couldn't start a cab company because you can't. I mean, you can buy existing cab licenses from other cab license owners, but it's $1 million, metaphorically speaking, almost literally. So, the way around that was to start a town car service because it's licensed different and the licenses are wide open. There's no moratorium on the licenses. So I said, well, shit, this is easier. Nobody can tell me what I can charge either. So a lot more freedom. So I did that. That's how it was different. Was like it was just black cars, Brooklyn style.
But when you started, it was just you in one car?
Me by myself, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then shortly then
And you were driving around on Capitol Hill, if I remember, because I've heard stories. Because now, years later, I drove for you for 2 years in this company. Yeah. Actually, I drove after Crown Black was gone, but it became Black Crown, which confused a lot of people, especially because I had the same phone number. But it was a different company.
Yeah.
But I heard stories like people would be like, I was Soto's first ride. And then I heard another person be like, I was Soto's first ride. I'm like, wow, that's 3. Like, totally. I heard some great stories
they all
about.
Know me. I don't know who they are.
Everybody. Oh, I had people brag to me that they knew who you were. As if I didn't know who you were. And I enjoyed those conversations a lot because I didn't, it was just fun. But no, some of the old school, the people that rode from the very beginning told me some good stories about the early days of Crown. And I guess, to get it going, you were just driving up by the bars and saying like, who needs a ride home?
Yeah. Hustling. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. What's funny is like, I remember when I was driving not too long ago, somebody was in the front seat. They're on their phone. They're like, yeah, I'm in my homie Soto's car service. And like, what's your name, man? I'm like, Jeff. Because I didn't want to embarrass them.
Wait. They were in. Let's make sure people understand. They're bragging on their phone that they're in their homie Soto's car service, sitting next to you,
next to me in the car,
not knowing that you're Soto.
Yeah,
wonderful.
I was actually driving.
That's
but awesome. I didn't want to embarrass them, so I'm like, it's like, what's your name? I'm like, Jeff.
And who was that person?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. I have no
so we're not going to call them out here.
I have no idea who they were.
Oh.
So, yeah.
So you did that, and then you grew it, and you got more people involved and got more cars?
Yeah. Built out an app. I got a development team, and over in Vietnam, and got the app going. And
well, that's what you have going now.
Yeah, that's where it's at now. And then so, now it's a simpler model. I sleep more at night, less stressed. Before, when I started, I owned the cars. I leased them out. And then I said, well, hey guys, why don't you buy these cars? I'll sell you this car and do me a solid, and you're in business for yourself, maintain it, and blah, 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 and keep going, keep building it up. Let's build it up. My friends are terrible business people. There's there's a last man standing, like one guy left out of all that. So I'm like, well, I clearly, and me being who I am, not wanting to rely on anybody else except myself, I started recruiting vehicle owners who own their own cars, just limo drivers who contract with me. They have to be good, and that's it. So
that last man standing, is he working with you still on?
No, he's finally down, but he gave it his all. He's just but that's A
couple years ago, it's actually 2.5 years ago. you put a post on Facebook, which you periodically do, saying you were looking for drivers. And I had not been working. I was working in a casino, and I quit that to do like eBay sales and, secondhand sales and stuff, just to get out of that world, which I needed to get out of. And you put a thing up on there, and I jokingly responded, "Oh, wouldn't that be funny if I drove for you?" Literally just thinking I was like making a joke, because I thought I was doing this other thing. And I think you responded like, "Get in touch with me." Something like that. Like, "Larson, get in touch with me right now." So I'm like, I think I went out and said something to Michael, and I'm like, should I actually think about this? And I think she was like, probably. You probably should have an actual job. So I talked to you about it, and you were like, yeah, do this. And you pulled me into it really fast. Yeah. And got me set up, and I ended up driving for Black Crown for 2 years, and it was a lot of fun. Like, obviously there were things I drove only during the day. And just like when I was a poker dealer, I only dealt during the day. So I always avoid, the money. But you had, you had a great the company has a great reputation. People, it was very, very cool. I only wrecked one of your vehicles.
The first day it was on the road. It had been insured for like 2 hours. It's a true story.
It's a van. I drove this van. Oh my God. I'm driving down a hill into Ballard, and I assume at the front of this line of like 12, at the front of this line of like 12 cars, there's like a little kid like chasing a ball out into the street, like they show you in like driver's ed class, So everyone slams on their brakes, and it's just like each car is getting closer to the next car behind it. And I see that, and so I put on the brakes, but it had been raining, and I'm in this big Astro van behind this line.
Fucking van with no brakes.
And so I'm sliding, and the car in front of me is like a little Hyundai something or other, it's a tracker, it's something like that, and it's fishtailing, and I'm starting to, and I know I can't, like, there will be an impact where it's just getting too close, and no one's like, so I had to make a choice to go to basically to get out of this situation, or I was going to hit the thing. So I turned the wheel all the way to the right and took my foot off the brake, and the wheels caught, and I just went zip right to the right. And it was the one place on that whole strip of grass where there was a telephone pole, and I just went nose right into the telephone pole.
Oh my God. I was so happy you were okay.
And the thing is, it happens in slow motion, right? I was yelling at the telephone pole, and I was trying, because I still couldn't, I couldn't like steer on this wet grass, like out of what I'd gotten myself into. And if I pulled left, I was going to go back into the cars. If I pulled right, I was going to go into a rock wall. So it was like, this is what I have chosen, I was lucky there wasn't just like someone with like a stroller with a baby on the sidewalk there or something, right? I think about that all the time. Like, I didn't have time to survey all that, but everybody comes to a stop, and the woman who I didn't hit had watched the whole thing go down, and she knew that like I chose the pole over her car. So she gets out and comes up, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." And then someone I know is behind me. They saw the thing go down. So it was just brutal, and I felt so bad. So it turns out that I was able to back the van out of there and pull off onto a side street and call you. Yeah. I was totally shaken and freaked out. Took some pictures of it, so I can put a picture of it. It wasn't even as bad. In my mind, it was a horrific accident.
It was pretty bad, yeah.
But it wasn't, the van was back on the road a few days later, right?
Yeah, I went straight into the shop, and...
Yeah, it cost money, which sucked. Yeah. But so that was... the thing that was horrible about that too is I had just been driving long enough that I felt comfortable that I knew what I was doing, and then boom.
I remember when you called me, I'm like, you have to be joking, because like literally the insurance is like 2 hours ago went into effect or whatever it was.
Nightmare. Such a nightmare.
I was just like, oh Jesus. I remember
I have played that thing out every time I drive down there. I play it out in my head every time I creep slowly down that hill. Like I play the whole thing out in my head. I'm like, there's nothing else I can do. I just can't believe I hit the one stupid telephone pole.
Well, and I remember you were when you got to my place, you were super shaken up. I remember making you tea and like trying to calm
you. You made
me
me tea, and then you're like, take the rest of the day off, man.
Well, of course. Yeah. You ready to go back into it, bud? Come on, let's go. Yeah.
I was on my way to pick up a ride to the airport, like a nice pricey, like gonna make the day for me ride to the airport. That was horrible.
Yeah. See, and that's another thing, man, with this model, like the way the crown shifted now, it's so nice. Like everybody just makes money.
Oh.
It's nice.
Yeah, I'm not coming back.
Well, no. Well,
Like, you're not invited back,
because
buddy.
it's truly because now
You're not wrecking my new cars.
Well, I mean, because I'm only hiring chauffeurs. Like, I'm
Yeah.
just giving out side work to chauffeurs.
Oh, nice.
Like, so it's like they're not just clocked in for 12 hours for Crown. See what I'm saying? So
I see. Oh, okay.
it's
So
a
you'd
terrible
have to be doing
yeah.
you'd have to have other services you're working for.
You're just an independent contractor. Yeah. So
That's cool. Well, so how do people? We're coming up on the end of it here. So if someone's in the Seattle area and they want to use one of the car services in the area, they should obviously use your service. They should use Black Crown.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
Download the app, Crown Car.
Okay.
It's Crown Car app in Google or iTunes store.
Right, and if you just go to you have the website, you can
blackcrowncar.com.
blackcrowncar.com, and you can get the app right off there.
Yeah, off the website or in the app store or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah.
And that's how you do it now.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different ways to get rides in Seattle, but
absolutely.
that's the good way to do it.
Yeah.
And they might get you.
Yeah, they might get me.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, man, you're playing music again after all this time.
Yeah.
You're back at it. Tell me about your band.
It's a band called Jaguar Paw. Again, old friends who kind of literally pulled me into it, but that's what pulled me into it. Jason on drums, Jason Revis on drums. I played with him in The Hit with Matt from 1007.
Oh, that's right. We didn't even go into that. That was like a return to almost like the 1007
it was
style.
Basically 1007, yeah. And then his lady Heather on vocals, and this awesome dude Damon on guitar. He's done some past stuff. He lives in Olympia and travels to Ballard every week for practice. He's a warrior.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's a great set of people in that band, and they practice walking distance from my house. And I said, well, if you guys move practice spaces, we might have to talk about me playing in this band. But I think I'm a little attached to it now, so I'd be there regardless. But it's great. It's like it's hard to explain it. It's again in the poppy realm. It seems like a lot of it tends to come off like as late 70s like pop punk with female vocals. But I mean, we kind of do what we want, and it seems to always come out as Jaguar Paw. It's just kind of we're playing. We just recorded in Jupiter Studios for an EP. That should be out. I think vocals are going down soon, and then it's gonna get mixed. Probably be out in a few weeks.
How are you releasing it?
On our Bandcamp site, which I don't have the URL, but if you just Google,
Jaguar Paw.
Yeah, Jaguar Paw Bandcamp. If you don't put in the Bandcamp, you'll get Jaguar Paw, a South African DJ.
That's
so
not
we've gotten
you.
a lot of likes on our Facebook page from South Africa, so that's pretty sweet. Like, we need to do a tour there and just bum everybody out,
right?
So yeah, but yeah, that's exciting. I'm super. Yeah, we're playing. Oh, I don't have the dates in front of me. I want to say the 28th. We're playing at Daryl's in Shoreline, and we're playing at Slim's like that same weekend. We're playing 2 shows
In this upcoming month?
Yeah,
in May?
This month. Yeah, like late this month. So yeah, staying busy. It's super cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so that's awesome. I mean, it comes back around to music, right?
Yeah.
What, anything you want to say on the way out?
Woo. No, man, this is a blast. I love it.
I'm definitely having fun with it.
Yeah,
I learned
yeah.
there was a lot of stuff about you that I did not know. I have been laboring under the impression that I had you kind of figured out.
Oh, wow.
Like I just thought,
we left out my awesome agnostic front story.
No, tell it. Go. Agnostic front. We're gonna go back to the agnostic front story.
One of the biggest turning points of my life was when Agnostic Front had put out One Voice, and Ron Gardapi was like, "Dude, you gotta go to this show. Let's go to the show." Blah blah blah. And I was struggling in school. Like, I think if I missed one more day, I was gonna get expelled, and which happened to me every year in school. Like, I was terrible in school. I just couldn't go. I just hated it. And so I'm like, man, if I go, it's in Bremerton. If we go, then I'm not going to get back in time to go to school, and I'm going to miss it because I'm not a morning dude. It's just, I know my pattern. And so he's like, don't be a fucking pussy. So
I don't want to hear it. You're going to the show.
Yeah. So I remember getting in the car with him, and I think he dragged Pettibone out too. Not that he had to drag anybody out to that show. But we go, and I'm like, fuck, man. So I remember sitting in the ferry, like listening to the radio, and like, you know, Vanilla Ice was on. That was the era. And so listening to that. And we get out to the show. Gnostic Front at Natasha's. They play Crucified twice. Because it's such a great show. Like, and I just remember they're like, that's all the songs we got. And like Vinny Stigma, like I remember he's like, let's just Crucified again. I'm like, yeah. And like we all got on the stage and like just being a 17-year-old Soto with like Roger's arm around me, like singing Crucified, like, you know, like everybody on the stage, not just me, but man, that was nothing else mattered at that point. That was full on hardcore mode right there. That was it. And then sure shit, I didn't go to school ever again after that. True story. Ever again. Not even my fucking GED, nothing.
So you just went.
Thanks, Ron.
Ron Gardapi, once again, you're responsible.
I literally never went to school again.
That's beautiful. All right.
Yeah.
That is a perfect way to take this show out, brother.
That's it.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, how about that? Episode 11 of I've Known You Too Long is in the can. It's done. Soto REBELOS, good friend of mine for many years. I was stoked to have him here. I learned a lot about him that I had no idea about, and that's happening a lot on this show. But I think with Soto was surprising because I had an idea that I knew about Soto, and I had learned a lot. So I just keep repeating that. I learned a lot. But so I'm going to jump right to corrections. There are a couple. I think we were off a bit on the years that Balance of the World was playing. Pretty sure they were earlier, and that there was probably some overlap with 1007. I read something that said today that they were essentially 93 to 95. I think we were putting them a little further up. And that may not be correct, but the more I think about it, the more it sounds right to me. I believe the record they released was 94. So that, you know, there could be a correction on that correction if someone wants to get in touch. You know, when Soto was talking about his kindergarten girlfriend, I restate it at one point as 5th grade girlfriend. And I'm just completely, you know, I think my head was just spinning from the stuff he was telling me, but I meant to say kindergarten girlfriend there. So, I mean, I think that's clear from context, but just so you know I made the mistake. I caught it. I screwed up. For the location of Time Travelers, the place where Soto used to get his zines and I used to get records, it was a good old comic book and skateboard shop downtown. The parking lot is indeed gone now. They've built something up there. So that space is totally built up. So the block doesn't look the same as it used to. But Soto was right. The location was indeed a Doc Martin store. But that is gone as well. And I checked Google Street View, and it does verify whenever that picture was taken, the old awning is gone. You can't see the Time Travelers lettering anymore, which is a super bummer because that place was awesome. So Time Travelers is gone. Fallout is gone. All the old spots are gone. Singles Going Steady is still around in Belltown. You know, use it while we got it, people. That place is rad. Go in there and buy some records and some patches and some buttons and t-shirts if they have any, and some videos and other cool stuff because, you know, these places don't last forever. So, yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch with anything about corrections, anything about the episode, we've got an email address attached to the website, and that email address is nobodysnowsdl@gmail.com. DL, that stands for Doug Lawless. We're gonna make Doug handle all the email. He's an ornery bastard. He does nothing around here. He's supposed to be making these videos, and he has, you know, we call it the Proper Way video series, and as of right now he has exactly one, so it's not much of a series. So he's got to do something to earn his keep. nobodysnowsdl@gmail.com. Send us an email about anything. Ask us a question, comment, criticize, you know, whatever you want, whatever information you want, Doug will get back to you. So do that. Follow us on Twitter @NosyNobody. Go to the website, go to www.nobodysnowsd.com. Check out all the stuff we're putting up on there. It is definitely more than the podcast. There's blog posts. Very soon I'm gonna be listing a story about the skateboard shop that I owned when I was 16 years old. I've been writing out basically the history of it because I found some old negatives with some old photos, and it inspired me to go through and just try to remember why we did that. So that's going to be going up soon. There's other funny stuff, and I'm constantly planning to get new stuff up there and get some other people contributing. So, and hopefully there's going to be another podcast different than this one before too long. Hopefully something that's going to make you laugh. So do all that. Please go to iTunes, give us that 5-star rating, maybe give us a review, leave some kind words about us. That would be fantastic. Okay, until next time, thanks a lot. See you later.
This podcast is a product of the Nobody's Knows Podcast Network. Executive producers David R. Larson and K. Drake Streetman. Music for this episode provided by Polymorph from the record Artifacts, Demos, and Debris.